Do I need to call the meeting to order to make this official? Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. So, all right, well, good evening, everyone. We welcome you to our July 7, 2026 City Council meeting. It is 7:19. Meeting is now in session. Unfortunately, we had a slight situation here, and I had to call the meeting in order to have Sergeant at Arms handle the situation with Mr. Gutierrez. So, Sergeant at Arms, that is city property. May you please, Councilman Gutierrez, please give back the city property to the city. And if not, Sergeant at Arms, please remove that.
Point of order.
I called Sergeant at Arms.
Point of order.
Okay, what's your point?
What part of that is illegal to film a city council meeting?
No, it's nothing. You filmed, like our last city council, you used your personal city phone and filmed me up here.
Madam Mayor, you
This
don't
is
need to
city
address
property.
it. You can hear his point of order. And that's
Okay, point of order denied.
What are you asking for?
For you to return the city property, stop recording.
That's assigned to me. So
That's not assigned to him.
it's a reasonable accommodation, and I suggest you don't involve yourself in a civil rights issue. So the mayor is giving you an unlawful order, and I suggest you guys do not take that unlawful order. This is a violation of law.
Under the directive.
IT property.
Please stop recording and return the city property.
You can use your city phone. You did that before. That's city property. Please return it to city property. You could just have that. You could just take that from his hands.
This is how the mayor acts.
He has his private camera. This is not. We've had this discussion already. Do I need to call a recess to get this happen?
Not enough memory. This is a city phone too. They want me to city phone too.
Okay. We unfortunately,
no
I'm so
sense.
sorry, everybody. We're going to call the recess. Thank you. All right, welcome back, everybody. Meeting is now in session. I just wanted to let everybody know I apologize for the incident that today. The GoPro camera is for all council members and not for one individual. It's a city property for public benefit. It belongs to IT, and they're the ones who operate it.
Sublime.
That being said, we're going on to continue on the meeting. So members of the public wishing to address the City Council during oral communication must complete a speaker card available at the entrance to the council chambers that was outside and submit it to the assistant clerk right here before oral communications begin. Speaker card will not be accepted once oral communication has started. So also in accordance with SB 707, after all speakers who are present in the council chambers have finished, we will then hear from the community members participating remotely. That being said, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilwoman Diaz will go ahead and lead us. All rise, please.
Gentlemen, please remove all your caps and follow my lead. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Good evening, Mayor. Councilmember Gutierrez.
Here.
Councilman Wu. Yep. Councilwoman Diaz.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Santos.
Here.
Mayor Lopez Viado.
Present. City Attorney, is there anything to be reported out of closed session?
Nothing, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
All right, on to proclamations and presentations.
I actually have a question for closed session. I have a point of order real fast, sorry. Well, you have to recognize me. I have a point of order real fast. I have a point of order.
What's your point?
Yeah, my understanding is that the city of West Covina did enter into a settlement today in closed session. Is the city attorney not going to report that out?
They did not.
Are you going to lie now again? Oh my God, jeez.
On to presentations. So we have a proclamation celebrating Parks Make Life Better. I'd like to invite Susie Perez to the front. He's our heart here. Let's have something positive. And from what I was hearing while we were here and you guys were all out there, you guys were cheering. So I don't know what was occurring there, but I heard that Susie was speaking there. So, but I would like to say the goal of Parks Make Life Better branding campaign is to raise awareness of the benefits of parks and recreation throughout California and to raise the status of parks and recreation as a vital community service. As you know, I've been in recreation and parks for so long, but I want you to say a few things before I read the proclamation.
So I addressed the majority of the group right outside, so I'm not going to read off script, but I would like to invite Vanessa Ibanez, our Recreation Services Supervisor, and Leslie Bravo, our Community Services Coordinator, up with me. And we did allow for the rest of our part-time staff to call it a night. But, being a Parks and Recreation professional is really just such a passion, I think not just for myself, but every individual that is part of the Community Services team. The fact that we're able to impact lives on a daily basis, whether it's as simple as greeting a customer or assisting a senior with one of their needs, to playing on the playground or making an impact in the basketball courts or up at the sportsplex. So again, we have 16 parks, 4 facilities, the West Covina Sportsplex. The staff is tremendously busy. There's always something to do. I encourage everybody to come out, play in one of our parks, visit one of our facilities, and you will be greeted with a smiling face. There's just something for everyone, from our little ones to our older adults to our adaptive recreation programs. We have our summer concerts. Tomorrow night we'll be here in the courtyard. I encourage you all to come and celebrate with us. And staff did an amazing job, and it's with collaboration of all of the other departments that we just had our 4th of July fireworks spectacular this past Saturday, and we had 10,000 plus people up at the sportsplex. But all of the logistics and everything that goes behind ensuring that we have a successful and safe event really is a true testament to all of the staff's work behind the scenes to lead up to event day. So I just want to express my gratitude to the entire community services team. I am beyond grateful for each and every one of you. And also, we still have some commissioners in the house. We have Steve Bennett back there. We had Gail Mason here a little bit ago, Cecilia Munoz, Sherry Fisher, and Gia Cablan. But I believe everybody pretty much is gone. But thank you for your time. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Mary.
We like to, Assistant City Manager Roxanne had a few words as well.
I just want to echo a lot of what Susie said, but I also want, Vanessa and Leslie, I want to also address you guys personally. So thank you so much for staying. And the rest of your team, Vanessa, Susie, Leslie Godinez, Claire, and of course, Kiara, just as the full-time leadership, thank you so much for all that you do for the community. We see you out there every day. I see you behind the scenes, working late into the evening, working hand in hand with the various departments. I think one of the things that we emphasize with Parks and Recreation is that there truly is something for everyone. I like to say that Parks and Rec is the face, community services is the face of the city, while City Hall has hours Monday through Thursday. Oh, and there's our commissioners. Why don't you guys come on up? Come on up. Let's give them a round of applause. Sherry Fisher. Sherry Fisher. Come on up. Sherry Fisher. Steve Bennett. Gia Cablayan. Gail Mason. Come on up.
I saw it.
Have to stop tripping.
So, going back to what I was saying, City Hall is open Monday through Thursday. We have business hours. Our community centers are open all the time, some of them 7 days a week, making themselves available to service the community. So please come by. Parks and Rec is truly meant for the community. I like to say it's our parks and our facilities are one of our last democratic spaces, meaning that it is for the people and for the people to design. Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to give the commissioners the opportunity to share a few words? Our chair, yes.
Life is better with the parks and recs and the team that makes it happen. The 4th of July celebration was fantastic. They didn't miss a beat. So you guys did a really great job. Not just that, the concerts in the park. If you're not going to the concerts in the park, you're missing something. It's really fun. And there's food, and there's friends, and there's everything great about the concerts. And the list goes on and on. So come out. It's usually a nice evening. It's tomorrow night, and it's what, Funktown or something? C Group, and so it's really fun.
Ditto. No, I just appreciate everything that they do, and they make our city cohesive. You know, we can all come and meet one another and enjoy ourselves, take ourselves away from the the daily craziness, and and I appreciate everything they do. It's not easy. So. I appreciate it.
Hi. Just to remind you that there are 17 parks in West Covina, and there's one near you. So make sure you use them. I use them with my girls and with my granddaughters. And they're beautiful, and they're taken care of by the city. So we're really special here in West Covina. And come on out, and thanks a lot.
First of all, I serve with some really great people, so that's the first thing I want to say, and so we have great staff. I just want to say, I was born and raised in the city, and I spent a lot of time at parks. I spent a lot of time in youth sports. Those are things that are very near and dear to my heart, and that's one thing that I like about the city is we have great parks, and on top of it, we have great people that oversee that. So these commissioners do a great job, and it's a pleasure to serve with them, so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. That's okay. So there you have it. You have our commissioners, we have our staff, but here's the proclamation: Parks make life better. Whereas Parks and Recreation promotes physical, emotional, and mental health and wellness through organized and self-directed fitness, play, and activity. Parks and Recreation supports the economic vitality of communities by partnering with local businesses, nonprofits, and offering events for residents' engagement. Parks and Recreation creates memorable experience through youth sports, enrichment activities, teen centers and programs, senior activity centers, adult fitness and enrichment programs, free community events, and beyond. Parks and Rec supports human development and endless learning opportunities that foster social, intellectual, physical, and emotional growth in people of all ages and abilities. They strengthen community identity by providing facilities and services that reflect and celebrate community character, heritage, culture, history, aesthetics, and landscape. Parks and Recreation facilitates community problem and issue resolution by providing safe space to come together peacefully and serving as key points of service, helping our communities heal both physically and emotionally. They sustain and stewards our natural resources by protecting habitats and open space, connecting people to nature, and promoting the ecological function of parkland. It supports safe, vibrant, attractive, progressive communities that make life better through positive alternatives offered in the recreation opportunities. Parks and Recreation remains versatile and innovative in providing vital service to communities through local, national, or global emergencies, all while adhering to guidelines set forth by governing agency. The Californian Park and Recreation Society has released a statewide public awareness campaign, Parks Make Life Better, to inform citizens of the many benefits of utilizing parks, facilities, programs, and services. Now, therefore, to be resolved that the citizens of California recognize the importance of access to local parks, trails, open space, and facilities for the health, wellness, development, and inspiration and safety of all Californians. And be it further resolved that we declare the month of July 2026 as Parks Life Better Month. Now, therefore, I, Letty Lopez Viado, Mayor of the City of West Covina, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim July 2026 as Parks Make Life Better Month. Thank you for making that all happen. All the staff left with all the gear? They had a nice gear to support out, but I'm glad you all met them out there.
They gave it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Up next, it's our Taste of West Covina. We'd like to invite Louise Ong to the front for Missouri tea. Hello. Thank you for coming. So looking for your next favorite drink in West Covina? Missouri Tea offers a delicious selection of handcrafted milk teas, fruit teas, and refreshing specialty beverages made to satisfy every craving. Whether you're meeting friends, taking a study break, or simply treating yourself, Missouri Tea is the perfect spot to relax and enjoy a flavorful experience. So stop by and see why so many locals keep coming back for more. For the month of July, they are offering 15% off on in-store purchases. So what is your favorite beverage that you recommend, or anything you'd like to say about your local business? And I love tea. I know there's coffee, tea, and...
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you, Mayor, for your wonderful introduction. And thank you, everyone, for giving us opportunity to share our business. My name is Lewis. This is my wife, Weiwei. So we are West Covina residents also. Yeah, so, yeah. Thank you. So Missouri was open last year in the Plaza West Covina Mall by the corner of JCPenney. So we offer premium matcha, handcrafted matcha, and boba milk teas and coffee. So just Mayor mentioned, we offer 15% discount for all in-store purchases for the month of July to participate in Taste of West Covina. So if we offer, so if you're a first-time customer, I would like you to try our lavender cocoa matcha, double strawberry matcha, or taro frosty cloud, brown sugar boba milk tea. They are really good. They are, our customers really like it. We got a really good feedback on those drinks. So if you're around in the mall, please swing by and come by us, taste our drinks, and let us know how it tastes like. And yeah, so once again, thank you so much for giving us opportunity to share our business. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
So just a quick question. I know we see pictures. Can you let us know, based on that order, the very first one that's shown going down, so that residents know what drinks are those?
So the first one is lavender matcha, flavor matcha. And the second one is Oreo vanilla shake. Yeah. The third one is our the original matcha latte. And the fourth one is taro milk tea, frosty cloud. And then the last but not least is the most popular drink, brown sugar boba milk tea.
Wonderful. And they close at 9, so right after this, you're more than welcome to swing by tonight and go get your tea. So on behalf of City of West Covina, we'd like to recognize Missouri Tea and Coffee, celebrating Taste of West Covina. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can't wait to taste the tea. For our last Taste of West Covina presentation, we'd like to recognize Wallace Chicken. Invite Ricky Chen to the front. You're not Ricky. So are you craving crispy, flavorful chicken? Wallace Chicken in West Covina is serving up delicious meals, from perfectly seasoned fried chicken to satisfying sides. Every bite is packed with flavor and made to enjoy with family and friends. Whether you're stopping by for lunch, dinner, or a quick bite, Wallace Chicken is a must-try local favorite. Come hungry and leave happy. For the month of July, Wallace Chicken will offer customers 10% off their purchase. Simply mention Taste of West Covina on your visit. So since Ricky's not here, you could let us know who you are and what is your favorite side dish or what to pair with the chicken meal.
Hi, my name is Manny Munoz. On behalf of Wallace, I'd like to thank the mayor, the city. You guys have been very advantageous to us, so thank you so much. It's a blessing. Favorite side dish for me would probably be our chicken plate. It's teriyaki chicken on top of rice with a side of coleslaw. It's healthy and it's very affordable. It's 8 ounces of chicken and it's fresh. So if you ever stop by, we have our nuggets, 3 for $10 meal. You know, we're very thankful to give back to the community. You guys have been very, very helpful, and thank you guys so much for having us out here tonight.
Thank you. So they recently had their grand opening, so please swing by, support. It's a beautiful building, it's clean, it's good, and got to have the chicken. So on behalf of City of West Covina, we'd like to recognize Wallace Chicken, celebrating Taste of West Covina. Thank you so much. Thank you. You too. So we have a special guest today. We'd like to invite Jeffrey Prang from the Office of the Assessor to the front, and you have him himself being present. So thank you so much. And he will go ahead and... Oh, wait, sorry. Is your mic off? Oh, there it is. Okay, go ahead.
So thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for the opportunity to be here. It's been several years since I was here. Just a correction, I'm not with the Assessor's Office. He's with the Assessor's Office. I'm the Assessor.
Oh, yeah, he's the Assessor. Sorry. Yes.
The
Assessor.
You're the big guy.
All that tax, property tax. Sorry.
So I know what you're probably all thinking. You know, how better to add a little bit of more life and excitement into this night's meeting than a speech from the county property tax assessor. So it's great to be back with you again, and I'm happy that I can have this opportunity to share some information about my offices, our program, and services. Most of you have probably heard me say this in the past, but I'll say it for those who haven't. I always like to tell people when I begin my remarks by telling people what it is that I don't do, because the one thing I don't do is what everybody thinks I do. I don't collect taxes. I'm not the tax guy. The person who collects your taxes has a very intuitive title. She is called the tax collector. So before I get into some substantive matters, let me just introduce my office for your viewers. You know, as a county assessor, I'm one of 3 countywide elected officials. I'm the one that nobody's ever heard of before. Everybody's heard of the other 2. That's the sheriff and the district attorney. My office is the largest local property assessment agency in the United States. I have 1,400 employees, close to a $300 million a year annual budget. We're responsible for assessing the value of 2.5 million real property parcels and business assessments annually, which 2026 were valued at $2.2 trillion and generates $27 billion in property tax revenues that supports cities like West Covina, school districts, county, and county government. In a lot of ways, the assessor's office is the most important local government office because no other government office can do their job until I've done mine. And if I don't do my job well and thoroughly, then revenues that you need, that you expect to pay for police and parks and roads is left on the table. Our role in the property tax administrative system is one piece of a very complicated puzzle. The system is really designed for maximum public confusion. And the kind of way it works is when you buy a house, you record a deed. Those deeds with the registrar recorder. Those deeds then come to my office, and we assign an appraiser to determine the value of that property. We then turn over that data to another department called the auditor controller. He is the one who tells you how much you owe and applies the tax rates and the direct assessments. And then finally, the data goes to the treasurer tax collector who sends the bills and collects the payments. My primary job is the production of the annual assessment roll, which is really just the inventory of all taxable property. And the roll serves a couple of critical functions. One, it's the foundation for the tax system, but it's also an important document for a lot of local governments which use it in preparing their budgets in anticipation of property tax revenues. And it's also an important barometer as to the health of the local real estate market. I am pleased to report that my office just completed the 2026 assessment roll. We closed that on June 1st. Back in May, we had projected that property values across the county would grow at 3.9%. But I'm pleased to say that we underestimated. The final roll closure number was 4.42%, which means that cities and school districts will have a little bit more change in your pocket than we anticipated back in May. The 2 biggest contributors to that increase were the buying and selling of property. Property is reassessed upon a transfer. And the other factor was the Proposition 13 cost of living adjustment, which is capped at 2%, and it was at 2% this year. There was an increase of about $10.5 billion in value due to new construction, although we removed about $11 billion in value due to properties which have declined in value, which is predominantly focused on the commercial office market. To give you an idea of what things look like in the local market, there should be a table coming up on your screen which shows transactions in West Covina. In specifically West Covina, there's over 25,000 single-family residences, about 500 apartments, a little over 1,000 commercial industrial properties. West Covina in 2026 experienced a 3.4% growth rate, with a growth of assessed value at about $552 million, with a total net value of all assessable property in West Covina at $16.8 billion. The next chart displays the median sales price of single-family homes, not including condominiums, in West Covina, as well as some nearby cities, and shows the percentage growth over the past year. Looking at the median sales price in West Covina, as well as some neighboring cities, you can see West Covina's current median sales price is $845,000, a very slight increase from last year, but still strong when compared to neighboring cities. The countywide average is about $950,000, and there may be a few reasons for this modest decrease. It could be due to the buyer's market, or it could be a few anomalous sales that impacted the average. I wanted to mention the median sales price, which is getting close to $1 million, because it impacts the next item I wanted to talk about. And that is Proposition 19. This is something we get a lot of questions about in my office. Prop 19 is a relatively new law that does two things. It allows people who are 55 years or older, the victims of a natural disaster, such as last year's fires, or those who are severely disabled. It allows you to sell your home and take your tax base with you when you buy a new home. So if you bought your home a long time ago, your taxes are relatively low compared to the market value of your home. You can transfer that to a new home anywhere in the state of California. Even more, you can transfer it 3 times. If you're married, 6 times. So once you turn 55, your property tax base is portable as long as you buy a home that's of equal or lesser value. But you can still buy a home which is of greater value. It's just you'll get a new blended rate, which will be a combination of your transfer tax rate with a market basis for the overage. The other part of Prop 19, which is actually proving to be very, very unpopular, deals with family inheritance. Under the old law, your children could inherit your home and pay your taxes, and if you had additional property, the first $1 million was exempt from assessment. Under Prop 19, that's changed. Now the only property that you can inherit from your parents and maintain the tax base is your parents' primary residence. In order to qualify, you have to move into that home within 12 months of the transfer, and you have to file the homeowner's exemption. But even more, only the first $1 million is exempt. So as with median sales price of homes in LA County approaching $1 million, it's very likely when your children inherit your property, they're going to inherit that with a tax increase. I mentioned just a moment ago a program called the homeowner's exemption, which you have to qualify for family inheritance under Prop 19. The homeowner's exemption is a tax savings program that is available to anybody who owns a home and occupies that as their principal residence. I wanted to emphasize this today because we estimate that in the city of West Covina, almost half of the residents who qualify for the homeowner's exemption do not receive it. And they don't receive it because they don't apply because they don't know about it. So if you own a home and you don't know if you have the homeowner's exemption, you can check that out on our website. It's a very simple program application to apply for, and you'll save a little bit of money annually on your property taxes, and it will help you to transfer your property to your children if that's what your desire is. One of the reasons I came here was to talk about something that we just did recently in our office affecting small businesses. Businesses in California are required to pay taxes on their furniture, equipment, machinery, and fixtures. And the law in Los Angeles County, any business which had an aggregate of $5,000 of equipment or more had to pay taxes. It's taxed at 1%. I did an analysis which showed that for a $5,000 assessment, the county will generate $50 in property taxes. It's taxed at 1%, the same as real estate. The problem is it costs me $174 to process that assessment, so we're losing money. So in May, I asked the Board of Supervisors to raise that threshold from $5,000 to $10,000, which is the legal maximum. The board did unanimously approve that, which means we estimate that about 43,000 small businesses across LA County will no longer have to submit this paperwork and pay this tax. I don't have the number for West Covina, but I thought it was important information to share with the small business community here in the city. And finally, I just wanted to mention a couple programs that are important for anybody who owns property in LA County. The first one is something we call the Homeowner Alert. You're probably all familiar that in recent years there's been an increase in title fraud. Somebody will use identity theft and change the title name on your title. Then they'll leverage debt against that property, and it creates a real headache and a mess for property owners. But now anybody who owns property in the county can go on our website, register your email address under the Homeowner Alert, and anytime somebody records something on your deed, you'll get an email notification within 48 hours. If you don't sign up, the first notification you'll get is a letter in the mail from the registrar recorder, usually about 30 to 40 days after that's been filed. In that time, they can do a lot of damage. This is a really important way for people and a free way for anybody who owns property to help protect it from title fraud. And if you own more than one property, you can sign up for all of them for the same cost, $0. And the other thing you can do on our website now is you can set up your own property owner's profile, which will allow you to take care of a lot of transactions with our office online, such as updating your mailing address or applying for the homeowner's exemption, which I referenced before, or filing for things such as disaster relief. So the things the conclusion I would offer to my remarks is just a reminder to sign up for the homeowner's exemption, the Homeowner Alert, and file and sign up for Assessor's e-Service so you can interface with our office online. But that concludes my prepared remarks. I appreciate the opportunity to share this information with each of you and with your constituents, our constituents, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
I know Council has questions, but I just wanted to thank you. For those that don't know him, he is pretty active, amazing. He goes out there. I had to work the fires, and I ran the largest in Southern California, the Black History Parade and Festival, and I had to put that together, and in Pasadena, and I was dealing with Altadena, and we brought in all these resources, and he personally came out, spoke to all the residents who lost their homes and guided them and navigate on how to help them, to secure and help. And these resources that he's sharing, please take advantage of it. I personally, when you came out to many years ago, probably like 4 years ago, to our last council meeting, and you presented some updates, the homeowner's exemption. So if you own a home, apply for that. It's really quick, less than 5 minutes. Just put that in, and it saves. Every little money helps in saving. So it's great that when they think of the tax assessor, they think of him taxing people, but in reality here, he's helping you save money on taxes. For the small businesses, so this is not just those that own a property, it's also for the small businesses. So I urge all small businesses to take advantage of these new laws that, you don't have to pay taxes on lower valued business property, and get the, there's a lot of frauds out there. So I urge everybody to also put in for the Homeowner Alert. I mean, I'll try that too. I know this presentation is on our council meeting. Feel free to review it, get that information. I know some of the residents were here, were taking some photos, so great. But I just wanted to thank you for all that you do, and you do an amazing job, and you present and give all the information. Council would like to ask questions. I think Mayor Pro Tem Cantos wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Thank you. Assessor Prank, congratulations on your reelection. And you really are truly, you continue to engage with the community. And I second the sentiments of the mayor. You're just awesome, just really incredible. I just have a question regarding the homeowner's exemption. For those who have not availed themselves of that program, how far back can you go in terms of having them apply now for the exemption, and then maybe if they paid taxes that were higher in the past, but then it wouldn't have been as high had they been under this exemption? Do you go back retroactively, or does it only start from this point forward? How does that work?
Regrettably, council members, it's only prospective. We can't go backwards with the homeowner's exemption. Okay. I wish we could, but it's outside my authority.
And what is the website? Can you verbalize that, please, for folks?
The website is assessor, assessor.lacounty.gov.
Thank you.
In reference to piggyback on Mayor Pro Tem Cantos, the homeowners exception, we only have to do that one time, or every few years, you know how things change and they want to tax
You only
us?
have to do it once. If you move, you have to do it each time you move. But you apply once and it rolls over as long as you own the home.
Oh, perfect. Did other councils have any other questions? Seeing none, we thank you again. And residents, small businesses, if you have questions, feel free to email his office, and they would be more than happy to assist in helping you navigate everything.
And we did leave some information with the items I talked about at the table in the back of the chambers. But I appreciate your time and attention. It's great to visit with all of you. Have a great meeting.
Jeff, nice to
Thank
see
you so much.
Good to see you.
All right. On to the city manager's report. City manager, you'll be giving that report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First slide. Okay. City Public Works staff over the last 2 weeks have completed updates to the West Covina Sportsplex in preparation for the 4th of July event, to include repairs of the outfields and fields, landscaping, power washing of sidewalks and entryways. Updates to restrooms, working with vendors, overnight security on the 3rd of July, and various other tasks. Troubles with my computer tonight. Hang on a second. City staff and the contractor have continued completing updates to Fire Station 123's kitchen. Items still need to be completed and finished are installation of the countertops, delivery and installation of new appliances, installation of sink, securing cabinets, and other touch-ups as needed. Due to infrastructure and safety issues, the condition of the kitchen and shower at Fire Station 125, city staff and contractors have been working on demolition of the kitchen, electrical updates, floor planning for the kitchen, and replacement and repairs to the shower and more. They will be doing installation of new cabinets and countertops, as well as deliver and install all new appliances. Work continues to be done, and updates will be given at a future council meeting. With the guidance of the fire department, who provided high-risk areas, public works staff have cleared dry brush at both BKK and Galster Park areas, along Girl Scout camp, and portions of the walking path. On Wednesday, June 17th, the Community Services Department kicked off the start of summer with its first summer concert and night market. Attendees enjoyed live music, dancing throughout the event with the company band. The event featured a variety of attractions, including face painting, balloon twisting, games, beer garden, arts and crafts, and a diverse selection of local retail and food vendors. It was a successful community event that brought together residents and visitors for an evening of entertainment and family-oriented activities. What a night for West Covina. Our second summer concert was a success with Journey Through Time. Community came together to enjoy face painting, balloon twisting, vendors, beer garden, and interactive games. Catch the next one on Wednesday, July 8th, tomorrow, with OC Groove. On Friday, June 19th, the Cortez Park and Community and Senior Center hosted its annual Father's Day celebration for over 200 seniors. Attendees enjoyed delicious barbecue ribs and danced to the grooves of DJ Rudy. The event concluded with all fathers receiving a special gift to honor the importance of fatherhood. On Wednesday, July 1st, the Cortez Park Community and Senior Center celebrated the 4th of July. It was a wonderful success, welcoming 200 participants for an afternoon filled with fun, laughter, and patriotic spirit. Guests enjoyed great music from our talented DJ Phil, who kept the energy high with a mix of classic favorites and festive tunes that had everyone singing along and dancing. The celebration featured delicious refreshments, festive decorations, exciting games, and plenty of opportunities to connect with friends old and new. What a bang birthday celebration for America. Over 10,000 spectators joined us at the West Covina's 4th of July Spectacular to celebrate our nation's 250th birthday with an unforgettable evening of patriotism, live entertainment, community spirit. The Cobra Cowboys and the Ace Band had the crowd dancing and singing all night long, while DJ Phil kept the energy going before an incredible 18-minute fireworks spectacular brought the celebration to a spectacular finish. Families also enjoyed delicious food trucks, vendors, shopping, inflatables, games, family activities, and the Cove Cocktail Bar, making it a night to remember for all ages. A sincere thank you to our amazing city staff, public safety personnel, sponsors, vendors, volunteers, entertainers, and every community member who came out to celebrate with us. On Thursday, June 19th, the Cameron Community Center hosted a free movie night featuring Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. The event was a great success, welcoming over 40 participants for an evening of fun, laughter, and adventure from 7 to 10 p.m. Guests enjoyed the movie with snacks, interactive games, and character-themed temporary tattoos that added to the excitement. It was a wonderful night, bringing families, friends, and the community together. Shadow Oak Community Center hosted its annual Ties and Tiaras Father's Day dance on Friday, June 19th. A total of 50 attendees joined the celebration, enjoying dinner, photo booth, balloon twisting, face painting, and an evening of dancing. The evening was filled with laughter, dancing, and memorable moments shared between father figures, and special guests. On Friday, June 26th, Shadow Oak Community Center hosted its Tiny Tots graduation, celebrating 22 students as they completed the program. Families gathered to recognize the graduates' accomplishments and enjoy the special milestone as children proudly received their certificates and celebrated all they learned throughout the year. The West Covina Sportsplex hosted the USSSA Fast Pitch International Championship Baseball Little League World Series Tournament Monday, June 15th through Friday, June 26th. The event drew more than 80 teams and welcomed over 6,800 spectators. Over the course of the tournament, the Sportsplex generated $55,000 in admission fees and $50,000 in rental fees. A huge thank you to USSSA for partnering with the West Covina Sportsplex. The Public Safety Department continued educating property owners on proper hillside maintenance, fire prevention practices. Staff has been conducting inspections and working proactively with property owners to ensure privately owned hillside parcels are routinely maintained and potential fire hazards are addressed before they become a public concern. These ongoing efforts to support wildfire preparedness and help protect the community by reducing fire risks throughout the city. On July 2nd, the Public Safety Department, in coordination with the West Covina Police Department's HOPE team, assisted the removal of encampment located in West Covina Parkway and Vincent Avenue. The encampment consists of a mattress, charcoal grill, dresser, canopy, and other miscellaneous items being stored on city property. The area was cleared to address public safety concerns, maintain accessibility, and preserve the cleanliness of the public right-of-way. On June 18, 2026, the city was delighted to help celebrate Regency Grand of West Covina's silver anniversary. Regency Grand originally opened in 2001 and has served the city's senior community for over 25 years. Services provided at the community event included assisted living, memory care, and respiratory care. Congratulations to Regency Grand West Covina. Our Community and Economic Development introduced our new commercial facade grant program. Commercial facade grant improvement program applications are now available online at www.westcovina.gov. The program is available to eligible businesses within the city of West Covina, shown in CDGB track area, and intended to help with the exterior improvements with grants of up to $10,000. Please contact Community and Economic Development Division at 626-939-8417 with any questions. The city is preparing a local hazard mitigation plan, which is a FEMA-required strategic document that identifies natural hazards and develops strategies to reduce the risk of life and property. The plan acts as a guide for decision makers for lowering disaster costs, improve safety, and ensure eligibility for federal grants. Public input is an important component of this plan preparation. Please consider taking the online community survey to help us build a more resilient city. More information, including a link to an online community survey, is available on the city's webpage. November 3rd, General 3rd Municipal Election nomination period starts Monday, July 13th and closes on Thursday, August 6th. For additional information or to schedule an appointment with the Assistant City Clerk to pull nomination papers, please call 626-939-8433. The West Covina Police Department conducted a 3-day comprehensive active shooter training exercise at West Covina High School. The training focused on active shooter response, unified command, school evacuation procedures, and the interagency coordination with the West Covina Fire Department. The training included both classroom instruction and realistic scenario-based exercises to enhance officer readiness, improve coordinated response capabilities, and strengthen preparedness for an active shooter response and other major critical incidents. The West Covina Police Department Peer Support Team recently hosted its inaugural Cruise and Brews event, bringing together employees from every watch, detail, and division. The event provided an opportunity for sworn and professional staff to connect with their peer support team members in a relaxed and welcoming environment. The peer support team is dedicated to promoting the overall well-being of the department members by focusing on mental, physical, emotional, and financial wellness. Cruise and Brews was created to strengthen relationships, encourage meaningful conversations, and remind employees of the resources and support available to them. The event was made possible through the tremendous generosity of local businesses that proudly support the West Covina Police Department. Special thanks to Vaughn's, Tater Brothers, Sprouts, Starbucks, Northgate Market, The Chosen Cup, Chick-fil-A, Heavenly Flowers, Costco for their sponsorship and donations of food and refreshments. Their partnership helped the inaugural Cruise and Brews a tremendous success, and the peer support team looks forward to continuing this tradition in years to come. On June 26th, the West Covina detectives conducted joint operation with Covina police detectives targeting the sale of illegal fireworks. As a result of the operation, approximately 1,000 pounds of illegal fireworks were seized and 5 arrests were made. On July 1st, 7 West Covina Police Department recruits graduated from Wiro Hondo Police Academy Class 219. We are proud to share that our newest officers were recognized with top honors, including Class Gideon Award and Firearms Award, Honor Cadet Award, and Physical Fitness Award. Congratulations to all 7 officers, and welcome to the West Covina family. The International Association of Firefighters Ground Service Survival, FGS, program is official. Comprehensive training designed to prevent and manage Mayday situations for firefighters at all ranks. The FGS program is designed to ensure consistent training in Mayday prevention and operations across all firefighters, company officers, and chief officers. Its primary goal is to equip firefighters with the skills to survive if they become lost, disoriented, injured, low on air, or trapped during fireground operations. The program emphasizes situational awareness, survival techniques, and emergency response procedures based on real incidents and firefighter fatality data, highlighting that become trapped or disoriented is the leading cause of structure fire ground fatalities. The URVIA training for West Covina PD and West Covina fire personnel demonstrate and safe coordinated police fire operations, effective rescue, force deployment, and organized casualty management, establishing a unified command structure. This exercise included West Covina Police Department, Fire Department, and is to identify each department's role and responsibility during an active shooter event, reinforce task force formation, casualty care principles, and evaluate coordinated police and fire operations. Fire Explorer Post 465, our Fire Explorers Post colors at the 4th of July celebration held at the West Covina Sportsplex this past weekend. Upcoming events, summer concerts and night market, OC Groove, tomorrow night here at 7 p.m. at West Covina Civic Center. Cool Kids Summer Nights Water Play, Friday, July 10th at Palmview Park. Summer concert and night market here for now, Wednesday, July 15th, West Covina Civic Center. Cool Kids Summer Water Play, Friday, July 17th at Del Norte Park. And that concludes my report for tonight.
There you go. Lots happening, proving that parks make life better. So thank you. Even seeing the FIFA Soccer World Cup inflatable at the concert. So if you haven't seen it, we still have upcoming concerts. Bring your children, grandchildren to the event. And it was nice seeing Karen and our finance director having fun. All right, on to oral communication. So we're going to move forward to that. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker, both in-person and remote participation, unless otherwise directed by the presiding officer or the city council. Once all in-person public comments have been received, the assistant city clerk will announce if there are any registered remote participants who wish to provide public comment. If there are remote members of the community who wish to speak, the assistant city clerk will begin recognizing remote speakers. Remote speakers will be called by name, asked to unmute themselves, and proceed with their comment. When a speaker's time has expired, the next speaker will be notified. Members of the public may not engage in behavior that is disruptive to the orderly conduct of the meeting, including but not limited to speaking off topic, speaking beyond the speaker's allotted time limit, making slanderous or profane remarks, or using loud, threatening, or abusive language which disrupts, disturbs, impedes, or renders infeasible the orderly conduct of the meeting. Members of the public may not threaten any person with physical harm or act in a manner that may reasonably be interpreted as imminent threat of physical harm. Therefore, Assistant City Clerk, how many speakers do we have tonight?
Mayor, we have 16 in-house speakers and 1 remote speaker tonight, so 18 total.
18? Okay, go ahead and proceed.
Our first speaker is John Rodriguez, followed by Carlos, followed by Nora Ortega.
Good evening, everybody. I'm a disgruntled constituent, I guess you would call me. First of all, before I have to say anything negative or anything, I just want to say that those people that did the Parks and Recreation, my son and I went to that to the fireworks show. That was probably one of the best fireworks show I've ever seen, and the grand finale was better than any Disneyland or Magic Mountain or anything that I've ever seen. So that was a good job. They did a good job on that. But I'm here because of the street sweeping program. I was here last year about the same time, and I took a picture from the screen, and it says this: August 19th, 2025, the City Council approved changes to the street sweeping schedule. The new program will switch to alternate day systems. The city will work with nationwide environmental services to update the sweeping schedule. Signs will be updated with new stickers showing the revised parking restrictions. A resolution will go out to the City Council to for approval before the changes will be made. Before the changes will be taken into effect. More details will be shared when the new schedule is finalized. My wife, Betty Rodriguez, emailed, I believe she emailed the mayor, Councilman Brian Gutierrez, and the city manager. And I think everybody responded to her. In fact, I got an email from Mr. Gutierrez right here. And nothing has been done. No signs have been changed. It's been, I don't know how many years this has been going on, but nothing has been done. And my wife did a petition. She went around the neighborhood, and she got like 20 signatures from elderly people with no driveways, and they're all complaining. They all want to do something, but nobody can get up. I have a neighbor down the street. He actually worked for the police department. He was a photographer. His name is George. He's about 85 years old. And to get around the street sweeping, he has to take his truck and back it up onto his grass because he has no driveway. And at 85 years old, he should not have to do that. So with all due respect, we need the alternate days implemented. Maybe they can take some signs that are on Wednesday from some part of the city and put them on that side, take our Tuesday and put them on that side.
We have the thing. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Carlos, followed by Nora Ortega, followed by Steve Bennett.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'd like to talk about trust and transparency. During the April 7th City Council meeting, the mayor stated several times that she had received numerous emails from residents supporting the street sweeping program. Those comments, I actually thought that I might have missed something, that people actually supported it. However, a friend of mine submitted a PRA for emails directed to the city regarding street sweeping within the last year. Side note, that took over 10 days, and he had to follow up because he got no response from the city clerk's office. The records had showed that approximately 10 emails with a couple of duplicate files because of the lack of city's response. And each unique email expressed concerns about the program, including home health care, accessibility, ADU parking, college students returning home, and none, like zip, zilch, whatever you want to call it, had indicated that they were in support of the increased citation or stronger enforcement. I'm not here to accuse anyone. I'm simply asking for clarity. If statements made during a public meeting don't align with the public record, residents deserve an explanation. Public trust depends on transparency. My second concern is the recent $630,000 overage or increase to the TransTech contract. Contract should never exceed its budget by that amount without the council being notified well in advance. Strong contract management means monitoring expenditures, forecasting potential overruns, and keeping the council informed prior to a six-figure amendment. At the very least, we got to do better with providing better fiscal impacts reports from staff so that way the community can see exactly where the money is going. I'd also encourage the city to evaluate whether bringing more engineering services in-house could improve accountability and reduce long-term costs. Finally, during the last meeting, the city manager indicated that if legal costs related to an internal council dispute that we all saw today continue to rise, the city may have to consider reducing services such as senior programs or even staffing. I don't believe residents should immediately be presented with cuts to essential services as a solution. Before we have that conversation, the city should first evaluate discretionary spending and ask whether there are other programs or initiatives that can be scaled back or delayed. I can certainly think of a few. These issues are bigger than street sweeping or any one single contract. They're about restoring confidence in City Hall through honest communication, responsible financial management, and transparent decision-making. West Covina deserves nothing less. And I will say that I like the sentiment you all provided to the Parks and Rec staff. All of us were out there. I feel like the first thing you should have started with was an apology. You have those people out there bringing their time to be here. They're the ones integrating with our community, our growing youth, and just completely disrespectful. So hats off to our Parks and Rec, the people that make a difference in this community.
Nora Ortega, followed by Steve Bennett, followed by John Shoemaker. Nora Ortega. Steve Bennett, followed by John Shoemaker, followed by Armando Sanchez.
Figured I'd bring some music to the circus. I mean, let's be honest. West Covina residents, we're here for the circus. We got the clown show here. Check this thing out. You know, I was outside. I saw the car driving around. Couldn't find a parking spot because there was no parking for street sweeping. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I sincerely hope you brought different shoes because those clown shoes aren't going to be a long walk out there with your feet hurting. Come on, help me out here. Help me out. Thank you. I figured I'm going to add some clownness to this council. Let's be honest. We start out with police officers removing a camera. Really? Like we don't have better crap to do in this city. Really? That's what we're fighting over? You guys, you just can't make this crap up. Holy cow. So let's talk about what I'm really here for. It's Groundhog Day again, guys. We're back 2 weeks later. Street sweeping, we're being talking about again. You guys haven't figured it out yet. The residents do not want this. You two and you want this. That's what it is. Nobody here is coming up and going, oh, please ticket me in front of my own house. Nobody. They're asking you, hey, look, we're willing to work with you, but find a solution. You've already wasted millions. You've bought cars to ticket us. The writing is on the wall. You've hired people to follow these street sweepers. Not once are you guys listening. Letty, you said, I don't want to impact residents. Then let your actions speak your words. Repeal this. If you really don't want it to affect residents, like you said at the last meeting, 2 of your council members want to suspend this now. Stand up for what you are saying you're doing or you want to do and you don't want it to impact residents. Because I'll tell you right now, there are 2 people here that would probably support you. So you know what? Own up to it. You guys made a mistake. Period. This is a bad decision. It's an election year. It's a bad decision. You can't make this stuff up. Even I'm not electable. And I know that you guys are stupid for doing this. Let's be honest. These people want to park in front of their houses. You've got handicapped people that can't park, their ADA issues, students still living at home, people that don't have driveways, parking on their grass, backing over a curb in their 80s. This is what you created. You guys created this. So instead of having a dirty curb, you're going to have ruts in people's grasses. Right? Let's figure it out. What's worse? Because we didn't have dirty streets before and we had nice lawns. Now we're going to have clean streets again with tire tracks and lawns. Guys, figure it out.
John Shoemaker, followed by Armando, followed by Hector.
Wow. Just wanted to go over a couple things, looking at the agenda and budget amendments and add-ins and things like that. And, I've been coming to these things for almost 30 years, and I've never quite understood all these maintenance districts because I keep seeing problems and issues that never seem to make the places look good. But the cost for the people keep going up and things getting added to it, which doesn't really help. The other thing, I agree with, there's going to be people who will be much more eloquent and have been much more eloquent on the parking situation than I would ever be, so I'll just let them go along and talk. But I think it is something that we need to be serious about and say, let's time out or whatever the case may be. There's also a couple other things I want to talk about that are important, and it has to deal with the conduct of different members of the city council. When especially one who continues to file court cases accusing our city manager of soliciting bribes, and the person votes for him. It's just absolutely amazing that what this person will go to accuse, a person they voted for the office of city manager. I mean, that just destroys, not only him, but his family and everything else. I mean, it's just astounding the things that this person will say about city staff. And then you look at things too. It's just amazing that that certain members of the city council, from what I've seen myself and I hear, don't want to be around the person in public because he accuses you of violating his rights, threatening to kill him. He threatened, he told Councilmember Wu punched him. Still waiting, and the video that was shown, I didn't see you punch him. And people know I'm not necessarily a big fan of you, but I am a fan of honesty. And I didn't see you punch him. Threatened to, this man supposedly threatened to kill him. But then it goes basically parties with him the rest of the day. I don't know what's going on. This is just getting ridiculous, but you guys have to put some things in place. But I do want to end on a happy note. I went to court today, and I was pleased to hear that Bill Elliott is taking account of his misdeeds and paid his restitution to Steve Bennett. So, I want to give him kudos for that. Thank you.
Armando Sanchez, followed by Hector, followed by David.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council and staff and residents. I want to piggyback on the gentleman that spoke. Yes, I think an apology is due to your staff that was out there waiting with your constituents of the city. I'm a spiritual man. When I make mistakes, I'm the first one to apologize to any of my brothers and sisters in my fellowship or even my neighbors. And I think that's called humility. And the scriptures say, God will humble the prideful, but he will lift up the humble. And I really believe in that concept. Thank you for sharing that. Again, I'm here for my neighbors. In last 2 weeks, my neighbors, it's very inconvenient for them to move their cars in District 5, and we're in the Galaxy. Your cavalry of I guess they're called safety officers, were in the neighborhood, but we didn't get street sweeping. So we had neighbors that were scrambling. I've got, a family that lives down there in Fox Lake. They have 6 cars with kids that live at home still. They're all working and they're all adults, and they have to move in their cars to Walnut or wherever they're moving, and no street sweeping because my cameras don't lie. And another thing I wanted to say is our district, our little area there got resurfaced, but 4 years ago they did just a few streets, and I want to give kudos to Onyx. They're doing a great job, but the company that did it 4 years, our streets look like they're 30 years old on Point Cedar and Fox Lake. They should have did the whole neighborhood again, especially by Hollingsworth Elementary. That was left alone, but they did send to us, and they did almost all of, like probably 90% of the neighborhood. And the company that we used 4 years ago, because I was out there with my neighbor supervising, actually just watching, and they did such a tremendous, awesome job. It cracked the day they left 4 years ago. It was cracked on the crown. I know that that's not my line of work. I was orthopedics, but you need to make it more thicker in the center, and that's what it should. I was looking at the work, and it was incredible how they took care of Morganfield. And another thing, I have had my car hit. You did a traffic analysis. We do need either street sign, stop sign, or speed bumps coming down from Hollingsworth to Valley, because we've had 5 cars hit since you came out there in 2022. So, but again, I just want to emphasize, if you can take time to apologize to even the citizens we're all professionals, and we need to behave like professionals. And that's the way I see it. Okay? Thank you.
Hector, followed by David, followed by Mario. Hector, last name Galdn.
Good evening, councils, mayor. My name is Hector Galan. And I've been living in West Covina almost for 40 years. And the problem that we have finding right now is just the parking spot. That's the problem. It's been 40 years and never see, this and what happened. It used to be like once a month, the sweeper pass by. Now, I see, they start first of all, they're giving warnings. Okay, that I understand. Now I start giving some tickets. So what is the solution? There's any way you can just get it one side one day and the other side the other way, so we can have a chance to move those cars. Because otherwise, if we just move those cars like a 5 or 6 blocks away, it's the same thing. There's the sign say don't park. So what are you gonna happen? Yeah, they stole your car, they broke windows, whatever. And besides that one, I've been seeing it on Tuesday when they pass by the sweeper. It just do lousy job, I don't see it. No water, it's just the dust. What kind of service is that one? I don't think so, it's going to be right, to start throwing money away, follow what the official, start giving some tickets, which lost some money right there for the city. And that's my suggestion, I don't know what the solutions that we have, if it's any way, think it one side one day, and the other side another day, the other side, so we can have a chance to move those cars away. Thank you.
Thank you.
David, followed by Mario, followed by Dana Sykes.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm a longtime resident of West Covina. Back when I used to be able to call ourselves a Spartan. Can't do that anymore. Let me be clear. I support clean streets, maintaining our neighborhoods, and responsible government. But what I don't support is creating unnecessary hardships for the over 100,000 residents of our city. This is not a public service. That's government creating a problem that didn't exist before. When I asked the parking enforcement officer what the residents was supposed to do, he just looked at me and said, well, just move your car back when the street sweeper goes by. It was arrogant, and for one, which I didn't appreciate. But it isn't realistic, more than anything. That assumes that everybody doesn't work or are retired or are healthy enough to do it. We've heard testimony tonight about that. We already had a system that worked. One side of the street was cleaned while residents parked on the other side voluntarily because you wanted your front of your house to be clean. The streets were clean, the residents cooperated, life went on, and somehow we replaced a practical system, one that inconveniences over 105,000 citizens of the city. I've heard the explanations, well, Covina does it this way successfully. Well, the residents of Covina would actually, dispute that because unless you'd measure your success by revenue, because that's what's being created here. There's nothing else that's a positive out of this. We already had clean streets. I've heard that, it's for water quality. Well, that's not true either, because the same volume of water that is being used to clean the streets in one day is the same volume of water that's going to be created for alternate days. And in fact, when you do it on the one day, it impacts the storm drain system even more because that volume is all at once. So that's not true. I've also heard that, it's meant to address this parking issue that was near La Puente with, long parking systems. Well, you know what? Address that with the police, address that with the parking system instead of impacting an entire city. I ask one simple question of you now. Is this really the best that we can do? In my life, I've lived in 6 different cities. And in all 6 of those cities, they had the same thing. We had street sweeping. They had it more stringently. They had citations. We moved our cars. It worked. It's successful. The only difference that this is doing with this blanket attempt is it's just showing that you guys are just being lazy. Just do an entire region instead of tactfully coming up with a solution that works for the residents of the city. Because we all want a clean city. We all want maintenance. But we all don't want to be impacted this way. It's ridiculous. And I can't believe that you guys have had these city council meetings and this has been the pervasive subject and nothing has been done by you guys. Please, really, do something.
Mario, followed by Dana Sykes, followed by Anna Maria.
All right. 2 minutes. All right. Well, back here to promote the West Covina Night Market. We have our next night market July 17th. We're going to be fundraising for the West Covina Pony League. And, Chinese American Association West Covina, watch out, man, because we're going to come to you guys with the philanthropic donating. You guys are number 1 right now, but we're second place. We're coming in close. By a couple of months, I think we'll be right there. Anyhow, we're going to be doing fundraising West Covina Pony League. Got some great food, great local vendors. Please come out and support. And hope to see you all there. Again, that's July 17th, Hearst Ranch, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. All right, now we'll switch over to the street sweeping. Been here since the beginning with the street sweeping deal. It was, I'm just going to start on how the city, my perception of how the city promoted this out or rolled this out. At first, we were told that we needed to be in compliance with something with regards to California regulations of sewage and water, maybe a scare tactic. We're out of compliance. That ended up not being the case. Then we had meetings with the community, which seemed more for the sake of having the meetings than actually to listen to the community. Because every time we said alternate is what we need, they ignored it and presented something different to you guys. Fast forward, we're street sweeping. At one point, I remember it was brought up that alternating days was going to cost $1 million more. And it was like, okay, so it's our tax dollars, $1 million more. Let's go that route. Now, I think it was about a year later, we had a presentation that said it was going to be $3 to $4 million more to go to alternate days. I don't believe those numbers. Sorry. Maybe recheck them. I'm going to go with Maya Angelou had a poem or saying, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but it's pretty much people will forget what you did to them. They'll forget what you say to them, but they will not forget how you made them feel. You are not making the community feel good with this program.
Dana Sykes, followed by Anna Maria, followed by Justin Harvey.
Good evening. I'm Dana Sykes. I'm here to talk about your haphazard approach to street sweeping. My father used to always tell me, numbers don't lie, but people do. I live east of Azusa, south of the dump. Just for the record, that's the most densely populated area of West Covina, and we're 25% of the population. Just to put that in perspective, 7 lot sizes for my house equals 1 to one of the council members on lot size. 7 to 1. So that's 28 cars compared to, 3 cars? So it's not equal how you're proposing and implementing this street sweeping. For instance, Shadow Villas, 1, 2, and 3 are walking distance from my house. There's 244 units of 3-bedroom to mostly 3-bedroom, some 2-bedroom condos. But they only have 76 extra parking spots. So where are the other 3rd-bedroom people supposed to park their cars? They park on the streets because that's how they were built. That's their fault, or is that the city's fault? Also, down the street from my house, there's a 24-hour care home that has people that have 24-hour care. They keep their driveway empty because when emergencies need to happen, seconds count. They need to get the people in and out of those homes as quick as possible. Their staff parks in the street. Where are they supposed to park during street sweeping? And are they supposed to leave their patients to go move the car? That does not make sense. Again, you're making a law that's not fair to everybody. And you're also promoting people to turn their garages into ADUs. Well, there's 2 parking spots that just made into a home, and that means more bodies. Again, where are they supposed to park? And times are tough. People are buddying up because they can't afford it. By the way, those condos I talked to you about, $3,500 rent. Who can afford that? If you can pay $3,500 by yourself, you're going to buy a house. So again, you're not thinking about the residents. You're only thinking about one thing, and that's money. All you're trying to do is generate revenue, and you're doing it on the poorest people. Because people that have 1-acre lots, they don't have to worry about it. I had a friend, they could have easily parked 20 cars in their driveway. But you know what? Those of us that aren't living high on the hog, we have to do with what we have. And all you're doing is you're income discrimination, and you're taxing the poor. Because that's what this is. This is a tax on all the residents that cannot afford those 1-acre lots. And again, it's all about the money. You need to start listening to, by the way, you're all elected by the residents. You're supposed to be representing us. If you want a solution, do one side 1 week, northeast, the other side, southwest on another week. Get it done.
Anna Maria, followed by Justin Harvey, followed by Josh Murray.
I don't know. It just seems like you guys don't listen. You guys are just sitting here with your arms crossed. We voted for you guys, hoping that you guys would do something to help us. I mean, why did you guys pick your job? Instead of thinking, what can I do to help my residents because I chose to represent this particular city? Yes, we want clean streets. Everyone keeps telling you guys over and over, every week you guys have your meetings, that we need alternate streets. The reasons why. We have a lot of elderly in the city of West Covina. It's not fair for an 85-year-old to be moving their car down 2 streets because you guys don't want to put alternate streets. We have people that are handicapped that drive, but it's inconvenient for them to be moving their cars around. Everything's so expensive that people have to move back home, and you have multiple people living in one household. So you got 6 or 7 cars. Apartments, they're only allowed a certain amount of space for parking, and someone has to park on the street. Near Nogales High School, you guys are also putting people drop off their kids at 7 in the morning. So now the parents have to drop off their kids blocks away so they can walk to school? You guys don't look over your areas of where you're putting your signs. If you're by a convalescent, employees park on the street, you can't put it in that little section right there. By the high school where parents drop off their kids at 7 in the morning, if you guys want to do street sweeping, think, okay, most kids are dropped off by 10 o'clock, class is in session. Let's do it between 10 and 2 before school's out. Not when it's morning pickup or afternoon pickup. morning drop off or afternoon pickup. On my street is a long street. I'm borderline West Covina, La Puente. The West Covina side only has one sign. The other side has no signs, so I park there where there's no sign. So do my neighbors. This is what we get. If there's no sign, we should not be cited or even warnings. If La Puente could do their street Friday and Monday, why can't we do Friday, Monday? Fed Meat and High Castle, they have the same issue. And there's other streets in the city of West Covina with the same issues. I just don't understand what the problem is to do alternate streets. Why do you guys want to make our life complicated? Just so you guys could have extra money coming in? That's what it seems like. I mean, every time I come, do you guys just look at us and I just feel like it's one ear out the other? The last meeting, we were told that this meeting, the 7th, we were going to be told if the citation takes effect or we're still going to be getting these warnings. You were supposed to show her some type of a graph. I don't remember the details. You guys did your slideshow. No answers. So what? This Friday when they come, if I park there, am I going to get this or am I going to get a citation?
Thank you. The city manager will answer everything, and that's actually on our agenda item. So,
okay, thank you. And also, that street, High Castle, is very dangerous. Cars speed through. We need speed bumps.
Justin Harvey, followed by Josh Murray, followed by Hendrick.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. So I submitted some written questions earlier regarding items 5, 7, and 8. So I won't repeat those. I'm just asking that they be included as agenda correspondence if appropriate and answered through a written follow-up. But the questions I do have tonight in regards to item 5, the sewer fund is projected to end 26-27 with about $21 million in funds. I'm just curious on why there is no sewer improvement projects planned for the year. In regards to item 7, the fire station, what is the total approved cost, the cost spent to date, and the remaining scope for Fire Station 3 emergency repairs? What specific conditions must be met before the city ends the emergency actions and stops bringing this back as an emergency item? And then item 8, since city council confirmed missing signs, incorrect day signs, outdated signs, and alternate day issues, will the residents receive at least one full warning cycle before all the corrected signs and maps are finalized and then before citations begin? And will the city publicly release the corrected street sweeping map, the list of streets changed to alternate side sweeping, and the concern log showing what was reviewed and changed before enforcement starts? Thank you.
thank you.
Josh Murray, followed by Hendrick, followed by Lee.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. My name is Josh Murray. I'm here on behalf of West Covina Library. I'd like to invite the adults of the community to learn about 3D printing at our Intro to 3D Printing program tomorrow, Wednesday, July 8th from 12:30 to 2 p.m. in the library's seminar room. Power up your imagination with 3D printing. We will create a physical object from a digital file. Join us as our MakeMo librarian will guide us to learn about the process and witness the beginning of a 3D print project. Also taking place tomorrow, Wednesday, July 8th, will be a children's puppet show, The Princess and the Pirates, from 3 to 3:30 p.m. in the meeting room. Join us for a unique and fun-filled pirate adventure puppet show that's sure to bring lots of laughs for ages 5 to 12 with their parent or caregiver. Thank you very much.
Hendrick, followed by Lee, followed by Leslie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council member. My name is Dr. Henrik Macalintal. I'm a healthcare provider, business owner. My wife is Ana Evangelista. She's a registered nurse. She spent most of her time helping other people. On 4th of July, she's the one who needs help. She was a victim of a gunshot wound at Sportsplex event. I'm surprised nobody mentioned about that. Okay. I Everything here, it's recorded on my phone, timestamp. At 9:04 p.m., my wife suddenly yelled in agony. I checked and I saw a penetrating wound on her thigh. I immediately looked for a police officers or event support staff in the vicinity, in the field. I cannot find anybody. I have to run in the front where I met 5 security officers. I asked them on a rattled voice, please help my wife. She suffered a possible gunshot wound or a shrapnel. The officer told me, show me. I'm surprised he didn't even call a radio. In this sector, somebody's injured. It's already a possible gunshot wound. Takes me 3 times to go back to the front before a police arrived at 9:25 p.m. Healthcare provider, a wound on the thigh, if it hits a femoral artery, an artery will lose blood 1 liter per minute. In a matter of 4 minutes, people would die already. I was amazed when I talked to the security officers, and the security officers were saying, show me. And when he see my wife around 9:07, he said, I will call somebody. He walked out of the field without any sense of urgency. And when my wife was on the ambulance, on the way out, the ambulance gets stuck going out to the Azusa. We were walking, me and my kids. We were ahead of the ambulance to the Nelson Street where we park. This is, I'm saying this as I love West Covina. I want it to be safe for everyone, for my kids, for fellow residents and guests. There are clear systems that needs to be changed. My phone needs to be updated, the operating system, every now and then. I know you're doing this for a while, but certainly something's wrong.
Lee, followed by Leslie, followed by JD.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Lee. I am a longtime resident of District 5. I am speaking for myself for this public comment. I want to address, real talk, the recent ICE activity that occurred within District 1 around the intersection of West Francisco Avenue and Willow Avenue. On June 23rd, community members recorded masked ICE agents stopping a vehicle, and nearby workers in the surrounding businesses reported the person in the vehicle was let go, and ICE left the scene shortly afterwards. I'm grateful to the community members who documented and to the workers in the community who witnessed the activity, and I can only imagine the person or persons in the vehicle were experiencing a range of emotions, and I can only hope that they are okay and have their own support networks. I highly encourage the City Council members be aware that ICE is in the area and be aware of what your residents are facing in regards to ICE. On closer inspection of the activity in the area, I couldn't help but notice there were no fewer than 9 flock cameras within a 1 to 2 block radius of Francisco and Willow. They seem not to be pointed only at traffic, but parked cars, and the cameras are on West Francisco Avenue, Orange and Avenue, South Sunset and West Merced, nearby Edgewood Middle School, and West Merced and West Garvey. Flock the Camera advocates itself as a company that connects communities, businesses, and public safety so incidents can be understood clearly and decisions could be made on facts. But there are 2 facts that need to be made clear. The data from Flock Safety has been accessed and used by ICE to track people, often through the collaboration of local police. Yeah. You need not look further than the City of Pasadena police, who have recently been exposed by NBC journalists in their audit logs that they've been sharing data with ICE, FBI, and Nick Rick. Fact 2, flock cameras capture more than just license plates. The cameras collect all sorts of data from people that includes people's movements, location, and other activities. We know this because it was demoed by Flock, the company itself, in the city of Dunwoody, Georgia. A company representative showed to the city how Flock system had access to a child's gymnasium. So, West Covina City Council members, your city, just as a reminder, is a diverse group of residents who deserve public safety measures that do not include interruptions by masked agents, nor do we deserve to be surveilled for just existing in the city we call our home. So cancel your contract with Flock, invest in what keeps us actually safe, new public services available to the most vulnerable in our city, new mental health services and housing resource, and hell, pay the parking staff that that were here just right now, and they deserve it because after all the debacle
that's time. Thank you.
I just one more thing.
Our next speaker is Leslie, followed by JG.
One more thing.
We'll see you at the next meeting.
asked, what does West Covina Police do with all the data that they collect from these flock cameras? How is that keeping us safe here in this
said
city?
one more.
Yes,
Thank you.
and I will
Thank you
to
The
my
next
friend
speaker.
Leslie.
Our next speaker is Leslie, followed by JG.
Hi, good evening. Unfortunately, I'm just going to keep the conversation going about flock cameras. Okay, my name is Leslie Garcia, and I live in District 2, and I'd like to urge the City of West Covina to cancel their contract with Flock Safety and not replace them with any other automated license plate readers. These flock cameras have been praised by the city for enhancing public safety and doing so without compromising on the privacy of residents. However, it collects sensitive information about where we work, where we live, where we practice faith, where we seek medical care, where we take our kids, who we visit, and much, much more. In the summer of 2025, ICE agents made an aggressive presence at the West Covina DMV. The West Covina City Council, acting manager, and police department assured residents that they do not work with ICE. Yet, in 2023, the American Civil Liberties Union and Electric Frontier Foundation found that the West Covina PD had previously been found violating state law, Senate Bill 34, which states that law enforcement agencies cannot share license plate reader data with out-of-state public agencies or federal entities. In 2024, the police department still failed to clarify on whether or not they continue to share flock data with federal agencies like ICE. So I please ask for there to be some sort of transparency or on the behalf of the West Covina Police Department on how ICE data is handled. In the past couple of weeks, we've had ICE agents kidnap someone in Covina, drive through residential streets in La Puente, and also stop someone in West Covina off of Francisquito and Willow in front of Victor's Villa. I grew up in West Covina, and I've lived here for my whole life. And for the first time ever, I live with the fear that my neighbors can be taken away or hurt. This isn't a neutral public safety tool that is protecting us, but something that is bringing danger to our communities and actively violating our constitutional Fourth Amendment right to individual privacy, which I know you value since we had to go on recess for somebody recording another council member. I know a lot of here people are also present to criticize the street cleaning rollout in the city, and I think these flock cameras and street cleaning programs are a testament to the behavior of the city council, continuously rolling out programs that are not beneficial to the rest of the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
JD.
Good evening. Before I move on to what brings me up to the podium, I want to humbly and respectfully suggest that the council consider, or city management consider, allowing our library representative to come up first. He's really performing a community service, and I think out of consideration of his time, and for those that may leave before his presentation, it would be a good thing. Thank you. Now, having said that, I noticed in your manager's presentation, you showed the updates, the advances that have been made at the fire station. and that's a great thing. I'm talking about the fire station that was infested with unwanteds. That's a great thing because when it was discovered, and I don't know how long that problem existed, but when it was discovered, when it finally came to light, the council and city management came together and you appropriated the funds to remediate that problem. The first speaker came here tonight, and I'm happy he was the first speaker because he reminded me that the city manager made a promise to the residents when this street sweeping was at its highest point in terms of disappointment and frustration, that the city would go out and put some temporary signs to fix the problem of parking restrictions. We haven't seen that happen. My question to you tonight is, why are you not moving on resolving this signage problem, which seems to be the real problem with residents? They have nowhere to park. Why are you not moving forward in appropriating the funds and getting those signages corrected? Are you waiting for elections to end? For elections to come here and end? Is this a delay tactic? Are we being stonewalled? Because as you have just done, Councilman Wu, your body language tells us that you agree, but your actions say otherwise. You have done nothing to correct the problem in regards to the signages. Please, take care of that problem. We're not asking you to throw away $500,000 you've already invested in vehicles and contracts that you've made. But I think this problem with the parking is the minimum that you should be able to take action on immediately. Thank you.
Okay. Mayor, I have one member of the public who is going to be joining us remotely. Renee, can you please unmute yourself at this time? Thank you.
Okay.
Your 3 minutes are going to go ahead and start now. Please start.
Okay. I thank you for letting me take the floor here. We've been proud residents, myself and family, for over 25 years, but now I'm beginning to rethink this with the direction that our city council has taken us, especially with this street fiasco, sweeping fiasco ordeal. As you heard, many other people have complaints about this. Many years ago, it was only once a month, and that was fine. And now all of a sudden, we jumped to 4 times a month. To me, that's kind of a red flag. Bottom line, it's all about generating income. But what's kind of absurd is implementing this whole plan without even a resolution on parking. It's just atrocious. That's absurd. Why would you put forth a plan in place without any parking resolutions? So you need to rethink this. How about just cutting it down to once a month like it was in the past, which will do 2 things. It's going to soften the budget expenses that you created, and then it'll grant you time to figure out a plan, and it'll ease some of the fury the residents have with what you guys are doing here, you know? So, yeah, like the former speaker, JD, mentioned, is this a delay tactic? Well, remember, there's many more of us than you. So we can easily unite and come together and figure out a plan on how to replace all of you and find people who want to work for the city residents and not for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, I also have a comment that I'm going to read into the record. I will also start the timer for 3 minutes for that. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city manager and city attorney. My name is Andrew Gibbs. I am a disabled resident. I cannot attend in person, which is why I requested an ADA accommodation to participate tonight. I am asking direct questions the city has refused to answer. How can the city close code enforcement case 26-0250 based on no recent construction when the city's own records show the February 17th inspection did not evaluate the core issues in my complaint? Permit compliance, drainage improvements, irrigation systems, soil moisture, slope saturation, geotechnical review, or formal engineering analysis of drainage or slope stability. Why has the city not asked the property owner for permits, approved plans, grading approvals, drainage records, inspection records, engineering records, geotechnical records, contractor records, or any documentation providing the hillside work is lawful? If the city found no permits, and if the city says historical records may be incomplete, how can the city close the case without requiring the owner to prove what was built, when it was built, how it was drained, and whether it was ever approved? What other resident would be allowed to alter a hillside, terrace, a slope, install retaining-like features, irrigate it for years, and then avoid basic permit verification simply by saying the work is old? That is not normal enforcement. That looks like selective enforcement unless the city can identify the same rule it would apply to anyone else. This is not speculation. Historical imagery shown the hillside being terraced, altered, and irrigated over time. A self-serving claim that work was built over 13 years ago is not a permit. It is not a drainage plan. It is not an engineering report. It is not an inspection. And the people downhill are not abstract. My mother-in-law has mobility limitations. My father-in-law is deaf and blind. I am disabled. None of us can evacuate quickly. So the question is simple. Why is the city leaving vulnerable residents downhill from an altered, irrigated hillside without first verifying permits, drainage, engineering, and lawful runoff control? We are not asking for special treatment. We are asking for the basic enforcement any functioning city would provide before people and property are harmed. If this slope fails, the city will not be able to call it unforeseeable. I have one more sentence, Mayor. An accident or an act of God, it will be the direct, documented, preventable result of the city being warned, knowing who was downhill, seeing the historical evidence, and choosing not to act. Thank you.
Does that end?
That is all of the speaker comments I have received, our online participation. We did have a member of the community who asked to be heard late. Miss Nikki, it's up to you, Mayor.
We can go ahead and allow
Okay.
Last one.
Miss Nikki.
Thank you so much. I'll be quick. Good evening, everyone, council members, mayor. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say the city manager is going to respond to everybody's comments after.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I wanted to state that the 4th of July celebration at the Sportsplex was absolutely beautiful. It was nice to see everybody there. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see you or Mayor Pro Tem. It was too hot. I couldn't stay there, but job well done. So whoever organized that, they did an absolutely wonderful job. We had an incident today. I know that South Hills High School, even though it's a Covina Valley Unified School District, we had a animal that was deceased on our property. Somebody had hit it and left it there, and they placed it in our parking lot. And we had tried over and over, everybody from administration, from the district, residents, myself had tried to call animal control to see if they can come pick it up because summer school is in session and these children were being exposed to it. And they were pretty traumatized. So the only thing that I could think of was to call here I was able to get a hold of Assistant City Manager and ask her if she could help in any way possible. And she told me she would do whatever it was that she could do. And within 15 or 20 minutes, I got a phone call back that it would be handled. And I believe it was code enforcement who possibly came out, but the animal was there for 4 days for residents and people to drive by and see, and the students were pretty traumatized. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I really, really, really appreciate that. That was a big deal for us and on for our campus. We're all animal lovers. So that was it. Thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So that ends public comment. Our city manager will be responding to all the public comment questions and concerns this evening. Go ahead, City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, Hendrick, I believe Hendrick already left, but I just want to say that the safety of our residents remains our top priority in this city. It was an absolutely horrific event that happened at our, what was absolutely a great night, our 4th of July event. The West Covina Police Department, I can tell you, is actively investigating this incident. And on our city website, we have posted the press release from the West Covina Police Department. And just for the community that's here and the community they're monitoring and listening on TV, the preliminary investigation suggests that the victim was struck by a stray bullet originating from an unknown location outside the fireworks venue, possibly from indiscriminately firing. As you hear always around New Year's and 4th of July is, you don't fire guns in the air because that bullet's going to come down someplace. And for those who don't know, that a bullet can travel over a mile in the air and you don't know where it's going to land. And unfortunately, in this case, it did hit somebody. As far as the other comments from Hendrick, I can tell you that I've heard the concerns, and the police department, the fire department, city staff, as well as our contract employees or contract staff that work the events, we are getting together to debrief and go over our action plan, and whatever we can improve, we will improve. I just want you to know that the city is being extremely responsive. We've heard the concerns, and we're deeply saddened by what happened at the conclusion of our fireworks event on July 4th. Ms. Nikki, thank you for your compliments regarding the 4th of July. The situation of a deceased animal in the streets, that's not uncommon. That is handled by our contract, LA County Animal Control. The first call should be to them, but you're also free to notify our public safety department or also our code enforcement department. You can contact Matthew Ariza, who's the manager, or you can always contact me, and I'll make sure it's taken care of as quickly as possible, especially when it's on a route to school, in front of a school where pedestrians are passing. That's unacceptable that it was there for 4 days, and I'll address that with LA County Animal Control to ascertain when they received the call and why it took so long to pick up the deceased animal. Lee and Leslie, I'm not an expert on flock cameras, but thank you for your comments on flock. Also, I was unaware of ICE activity on the, I believe that would be the border of our city, Willow and Francisquito. But thank you for your comments regarding ICE. And I can tell you that our police department does not work in collaboration or cooperation with federal authorities with any immigration type enforcements. Josh Murray, thank you for your updates on the West Covina Library. Justin Harvey, you mentioned the questions on item 5, 7, and 8. Those are on the agenda tonight, so if those come up, I'll let them be addressed at that time. If not, I do have your questions in writing that were submitted, and we will provide a written response for you. I'll make sure a written response is provided to you. The other speakers tonight, obviously the main topic JD, thank you for your questions and compliments about the work we're doing with the fire stations. That's on the agenda tonight as well. Most of the speakers tonight are talking about street sweeping items. On the agenda tonight, item number 8, we will be providing a status update on the street sweeping program, the input from community members, our response to those requests, And I believe most of your questions will be answered during that time, so I'll allow for that presentation to take place. We have 3 members of staff that are here tonight that will be doing the presentation that should cover all the different topics that were brought up. Armando Sanchez, thank you for your compliments about our staff. Any concerns regarding speed, traffic enforcement, please feel free to contact our West Covina PD department, West Covina Police Department. It's pretty common that we get requests about speeders in various areas of the city, and our police department's been great about deploying our motor units and traffic enforcement to address those type issues. Also, your concern about the quality of repaving, resurfacing, slurry sealing of our streets. I'm glad our current contractor is doing a great job. I will also have my engineering division contact you regarding the streets that were not done correctly or are already failing, and we'll see what we can do to address those issues. Carlos, thank you for your comments regarding TransTech, engineering services, financial concerns, and as always, your points are valid and taken and understood. Thank you. And that concludes my responses for tonight.
Okay. Just want to make it clear, no warning, notice, and citations will be given out until the street sweeping, the city can get this right, but that'll be a discussion on agenda number 8. Moving forward with the consent calendar, Council, is there anything you'd like to pull from the consent calendar?
I would vote no on number 1, which is relating to the Down North Day housing project.
No on 1. Is there any other motion? Is there any other agenda items anybody else would like to pull? Seeing none, do I have a motion? The motion to approve.
Second.
Item 1 and 7. So we have a first and a second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilwoman Diaz, a second by Councilman Wu to approve consent calendar items 1 through 7, with Councilmember Gutierrez voting no on item number 1. Councilmember Gutierrez?
Aye.
Councilman Wu?
Aye.
Councilwoman Diaz?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Contos?
Aye.
Mayor Lopez Viado?
Aye, motion passes. Now we're on to departmental regular matters, which is the status on the update to street sweeping program implementation. The city manager who will present the staff report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to have our CIP project manager, Robert Ortega, one of our engineers, Brian Cervantes, and our public safety manager, Matt Ariza, come up, and they will present a PowerPoint presentation, and they'll also go over in detail the staff report and analysis and work that's been completed so far.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and members of the community. Tonight, as a receive and file, I will be providing a brief update on the implementation of the city's street sweeping program. I will be going over the background of this project, the public safety department noticing process, and field reviews and concerns received, and the next steps towards full implementation, including enforcement. So this slide outlines some of the key dates for the street sweeping program. In June and October of 2023, staff held our community meetings to gather public feedback. In November and December of 2023, street sweeping was brought before the council for consideration, and staff was directed to transition to a weekly schedule. In October 2024, the city council awarded the contract for the installation of street sweeping signage throughout the city. And in February 2025, the City Council amended the municipal code and adopted the street sweeping routes and restrictions. Continue with key dates. The contractor awarded by the City Council was issued a notice to proceed in February 2025. In July 2025, the City Council authorized the purchase of additional street sweeping enforcement vehicles. In August 2025, the City Council directed staff to explore an alternate day, alternate size street sweeping schedule. In November 2025, the City Council accepted the notice of completion for the initial signage installation. In April 2026, options for alternate sides, alternate day schedule were brought before the City Council. At that meeting, staff were directed to proceed with a previously approved zone-based street sweeping schedule, while also reviewing locations for potential alternate size scheduled where residents lacked on-site parking, were adjacent to high density housing, or had other unique characteristics that warranted an alternate side schedule. Since then, engineering, public safety, and public works have been reviewing existing signage for potential improvement, including sign consolidation, relocation, and signage updates. Since the April meeting, public safety staff have been issuing warning notices, as shown on the screen. Notices began being distributed on May 11, 2026, as part of the public awareness campaign. To this effort, the city has received resident feedback via email, phone calls, and the city's report and issue app. The next couple of slides cover the various concerns staff received. For requests related to alternate size schedules, staff reviewed each location against the zoning code to determine whether it was adjacent to high density housing. Staff also reviewed whether other conditions such as proximity to commercial centers resulted in parking spillover onto residential streets. Another common concern involved neighborhoods where residents do not have driveways for off-street parking. Staff also evaluated each location for any other unique street characteristics that may make an alternate size schedule more appropriate. Staff received only one concern regarding damaged signage. However, during the field review, public safety and engineering staff inspected all signage to ensure it was legible and free of stickers, graffitis, or other damage that could prevent residents from understanding the posted restriction. The next concern involved incorrect day posting. During the field review, staff verified that all posted signs matched the 4-hour street sweeping restrictions assigned to each zone. Some findings involved previous restrictions that were no longer applicable, while others were signs that had been posted with the incorrect time or date. The most common concern involved missing signage. Many of these concerns came from the Friday zone, where signs had only been installed at the entrances and exits of the residential tracts. Based on resident feedback, staff will be installing additional signage to better ensure that residents and their guests are aware of the restrictions. During the citywide review, staff also identified locations where outdated signage from previous restrictions remained as part of this effort. Those signs will be removed and replaced with the signage reflecting the current zone-based schedule. Lastly, staff received concerns regarding school zones. As part of this update, street sweeping restriction signs along school frontages will be removed to allow parents to park during the school drop-off and pickup times. These areas are also swept earlier in the day to avoid conflicts while still ensuring the streets are properly maintained. The concerns submitted by residents and public safety staff resulted in 198 concerns being logged for engineering review. I would like to note that these numbers reflect the concerns received at the time this report was prepared. Additional concerns have been since received and may not be reflected in these totals. On the 198 concerns, 48 were requests for alternate site schedules, 1 involved damage or vandalized signage, 30 involved incorrect day postings, 101 involved missing signage, 18 involved outdated signage, and 1 involved school zone restrictions. In addition to conducting site visits for all concerns received from public safety and residents, engineering staff also drove every street in the city to determine whether additional improvements could be made, including sign consolidation, sign relocation, and the installation of additional signage. Based on this review, along with the site-specific evaluations, staff recommends installing an additional 1,227 signs. I would like to note that the current signage is legally enforceable. However, based on resident feedback, staff recommends installing additional signage to better ensure residents and their guests are aware of the restrictions. As the next steps, engineering and public safety are working closely with Public Works to install signage where additional, incorrect, or missing signage has been identified. Engineering and public safety are also coordinating with Nationwide Environmental Services to update the street sweeping maps for any approved alternate site locations. Those updated maps will return to the City Council for consideration, and signage will be updated accordingly. Staff will also continue to log and review concerns submitted by residents to ensure each concern is investigated and verified. The city will not begin enforcement or issue citations until the revised street sweeping routes have been fully implemented. Prior to beginning enforcement, the city will update the street sweeping GIS layer, provide notice through social media and the city website, and during city council meetings. Once the street sweeping program is fully implemented, public safety will follow the street sweeper and issue citations to vehicles parked within the restricted areas. Residents may return their vehicles to the street once the street sweeper has passed, and public safety staff will not circle back after the sweeper has moved through the area. If a resident receives a citation, it will include the applicable municipal code section, the citation amount, and the instructions on how to pay or contest the citation. Residents may contest a citation through the city's 3-level review process consisting of initial administrative review, an administrative hearing, and an appeal through the Superior Court. With that, staff respectfully recommends that the City Council receive and file this report. Thank you for your time and consideration this evening. And should you have any questions regarding the implementation of the street sweeping program, staff and I are available to assist. Thank you very much.
I have a few things. So just to give some context, I know everybody just sees, within the last year, there's like the history. So I just wanted to know, in 2023, this was brought forth to us to have a weekly street sweeping. And at that time, the council approved a weekly street sweeping. We even had a resident who operates a social media page, and she's come up here and spoke for it. So you're more than welcome to review that video in 2023. And the 5 council who approved that street sweeping at that time was Mayor Diaz, Mayor Pro Tem Brian Tabatabay, myself, Councilman Wu, and Councilman Oli Cantos. So the street sweeping to move to weekly was back then, and then again in 2025. But if you watch the videos and as we move forward, we've always made it clear that, high density schools and special circumstances were taken into consideration. Things that would come up was because of the budget was another aspect and stuff. But as we had moved forward with this, we've had, and I'd like to also remind everybody that in that past, what was the recommendation that was brought forth? I mean, we're city council. We don't have the fine print, the details. We rely on the experts, the city manager, the city staff, for them to bring what was supposed to be given to us. So I know some of the residents said they had the community meetings and you shared your concerns, and whether those weren't given to us is a different story. The previous administration, those who worked on the street sweeping, they are no longer here. I know we have the city manager and the city staff. They inherited the current street sweeping program. I share a lot of the sentiments that has been brought up, and I do thank you. Thank you for bringing these things up, whether by emails, public comment, phone calls, whatever it may be, in person, at special events and so forth. I did have this conversation with our city manager in regards to even new information that was given. So one of the concerns is we had three, and I didn't even remember that, was approved for 3 time frames, which doesn't make sense now, hearing the feedback from it should be 2, because then it saves us the cost. In regards to the the funding or what was provided and what was given, that one is a different factor as well. I shared a few of my concerns with the city manager, and I don't want to move forward with any enforcement, and I made it very clear, no enforcement until the city can get this right. I know the signage is a mess. Based on the report, the attachment that we received, all your concerns, as I mentioned in the past council meeting when these were brought up, please send us your address. Let's log it in. So as you can see on the attachment, with all the concerns that the residents has brought forth here at the council chambers or by email, they logged it in. And city manager and the city staff has went to those locations, and I know based on this, there were already changes. And I could already see that certain areas had those changes. And when we mention, and I do agree, certain streets or certain homes have where they can have 20 cars in their property and other locations can't. And that was the reason for having all these, to see if there was, we understood that there were certain exceptions. Granted, we don't know what full exceptions until this blowout occurred. And sometimes when we present this, we have community workshops. We don't have a lot of residents come and give feedback. It's not until the warning notices are out, then they actually come out and speak. And that's how they were able to gather all the data and the analysis and so forth. That being said, I just wanted to, I mean, I know that there's concerns and we've had made exceptions, and there's still that is things that are still coming through. I know we received an email that had the list of other things that wasn't taken into consideration because it was given after this report was made. I just wanted to see, city manager, with your staff, and is it a possibility just to, I understand we've had the cost with the same day alternate, we've discussed alternate times because the previous discussion is alternate days, and I know that impacts financially, but the alternate times to be taken into consideration, or some other formula just to allow residents more parking flexibility, because the parking is the main concern. And, you know, I did share a few concerns earlier today when we spoke. And so I just wanted to make sure, because I see this and we're already making changes on a lot of the findings and then the responses. So it's all here, but again, it's not the full information, the map and so forth. And I understand that there are still things that needs to be placed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the answer is yes to your question. First of all, thank you to the community for your emails, your calls, your online submissions. It's been very helpful for the current city staff to evaluate the concerns, do field inspections, and better understand the layout of the city. Keep in mind that when this program was first developed in 2023, it was a different group of people, and they were probably working off of maps instead of doing out in the field inspections. A lot of people that maybe should have been consulted were not consulted. That being said, I really don't want to be a Monday morning quarterback, but yes, we could have done things better looking back. Of the 198 concerns that were brought to our attention in this last couple months, the city concurred with 168 of those, meaning that of the alternate sides where people brought to our attention, hey, our area should be deemed or considered high density, a street maybe that does not have driveways, a street that relies on alley parking, streets that maybe have some other unique conditions that prevent them from parking on their street in front of their house. Those were all taken into consideration. And again, the majority of the concerns, the city agreed with the residents that concerns were valid. So I think that's a testament to the current project management team, Brian, Robert, Matt, and the field staff that's been doing the inspections, including public safety, public works, that you are being heard. That being said, we continue to hear more concerns And tonight was a great sample of the community is still concerned. There are still issues to be addressed. So, Madam Mayor, yes, I can take a look at other alternative ideas and come back at a later date to provide what I believe is some feasible recommendations to help alleviate resident concerns and address the overall concern that, we do have limited parking in the city in some areas. There are more people living at home. There are more ADUs and junior ADUs in the city. The governor has, and the state has allowed people to change what was a single-family residential neighborhood into having a triplex on their property. And with that, obviously, comes more people and more vehicles. The analysis that I believe that the community is asking for, I'm more than happy to spend some time, come back with a more detailed analysis of options to look at to help put this issue to bed. Again, this is an issue that I, along with my staff, inherited. It's kind of that gift that doesn't stop giving. And it's kind of like a whack-a-mole, too. As we address one issue and we solve one resident's concerns, we may inadvertently create a concern for the next street over or those residents. So, example is, I understand that, where we've agreed that an area should be alternating sides of the street, high density, or they have a unique parking situation, well, in turn, we may be forcing them into an area to park that has previously been approved as permit parking only. So now the people that have permit parking are concerned that we're infringing on stuff that they've enjoyed for a number of years. So again, I'm more than happy to take a deep dive into this and kind of put myself in a situation of what would I look at and do 3-4 years ago when this was first brought to the table. I understand, and I just want to echo to the community that you have been heard, and we definitely do understand what your concerns are. Again, this first report indicates that of 198 concerns brought to our attention, we agreed with you on 168 of them. But there is more work to be done throughout the city. I hope that answers your question, Madam Mayor.
And it does. Mind you, it's 110,000. We got 168. I know it's less than 1%. I mean, those we're making accommodations to, again, special areas. Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes. So, City Manager, you said you inherited this issue, but in 2023, I'm sorry, I can't hear myself. In 2023, weren't you the code enforcement director?
Yes.
So weren't you responsible to track data for this street sweeping program?
No, I was not.
My understanding is that you asked the council to approve extra funding for you to hire additional public safety code enforcement officials, in addition to purchase vehicles. And I believe one of those vehicles is actually an Interceptor with red and blue lights that you currently drive. And so my concern is that we are not adequately telling the public the issues. And instead of going around the bush, I think the only one who has been really speaking out about this is myself and Mayor Pro Tem Cantos. And I think we need to put something in action. We could talk about how people were not responsible, but you were the director of code enforcement. Transtech's right there. Transtech was responsible for the development of this project. They oversaw the contract for the implementation of signage that went out in our streets. The two same people are still here today. So we cannot say and blame others. I think the solution here is that you need to get input from all the community. You cannot just rely on a few emails or complaints that have come in. You need to update. You should update the notice that you've been giving out on people's cars. You should be asking the public, voice your concern if you believe your street deserves alternate scheduling. Because what's going to happen is you're going to spend money again on new signage even though it's going to be done in-house. You're going to do it again, and then others are going to complain saying that it hasn't been done yet. And so we'll never fix this issue unless you roll out a program that actually hits all the residents of West Covina. And the way you do that, one of the ways that it's possible to do that is developing a notice that actually tells the resident what you're looking for from them. If I get this notice, I'm going to think, oh man, I have to move my car. I'm going to get a ticket. What do I do? Oh, I guess I can't park in front of the school because I'm going to get a ticket if I drop off my son in front of the school site. So I have to drive him across the street, which also increases the risk of a child who is going to school in the morning. And these are really strong issues that we need to address. And I think one of the key things in order for us to do this is not only do you suspend the citation program indefinitely, but also develop an outreach program. And the way you do that, based upon my experience, is you develop a notice that doesn't tell people you're going to get cited, but rather tell them, we want your input. Call this number. Email this email address. Tell us if you have concerns about the street sweeping on your streets, because realistically, again, we're gonna put signs up where people are not going to be happy still, and we're not going to solve this issue. And we continue to spend money buying signage, buying more cars, paying for more public safety of public code enforcement officials, who I support, but. Again, I work for the residents who elected me to this office, and at the end of the day, we need an outreach program that really hits the community and gets their input, so that way we're not scaring residents, telling them, move your car, you're going to get cited on this date, while we're not even citing at this time. So it's one thing to say something, but it's another to actually make a motion to implement this as an order and policy.
Councilmember Gutierrez, thank you for your input. A couple things. For the most part, all your information was correct. A couple of your dates were wrong. But anyway, I'll hit the school zones first. We've already removed that signage. So we're not doing anything in front of the schools. As far as my previous role as in what was the code enforcement, now called public safety, my job was to have staff do the enforcement when the program was rolled out. I wasn't involved, and my staff wasn't involved in the development of the routes themselves or the layout of the program. But I do take responsibility that, yes, if we were to be issuing citations from 2023 to now, it would have been under my umbrella. I agree that outreach is important. Getting input from the community is important. All your suggestions are taken. And again, I work at the direction of the council, the majority of the council, right? So as directed, whether it's to enforce, not enforce, I take that direction. I can tell you right now that we've already suspended the warning notices. We're not issuing the warning notices anymore. The period's gone on too long. The issue hasn't resolved itself. We haven't been able to resolve it internally or externally. So no warning notices are issued. Definitely no citations are being issued. And again, Councilmember Gutierrez, I'm not placing blame on anybody. I'm just saying we can, moving forward, do a better job. I want the community to know, from people I've known for 25, 30 years to people I've just met that we're listening to you. City staff is, and the council is, and we're not going to implement this program until we're satisfied that we've got it right. And whether that be increasing our outreach program, I do like your idea about actually the notices and a link or something that people can provide their feedback. I can tell you from the field surveys that staff has done, yes, there are less cars now than when we started, but there still are some areas that seem to be more impacted. And there are residents that still have those unique concerns. And then the overlying theme here is, I'm I'd say 99% of the residents that we've talked to or I've talked to are in favor of clean streets. They're just asking for a place to move their car. And I understand that. And I will be responsible for working with our staff at the direction of the council to come up and try to solve as many, if not all, the problems that have been brought to our attention. I hope that answers your question.
Do I have another question? Mayor Pro Tem Cantos.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, thank you for bringing up the issue of permits. And in the spirit of that, I'd like to ask RJ or whoever has access to the different items on the spreadsheet, if you could please go to item 108 and let me know when you're there, please.
It's in very small font. Hang on one second.
Well, on the small print, I can't be of help on that. I apologize.
It's really tiny. It's
Garvey.
I've got it.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So could you please read across with the columns just for with that item, please?
Sure. It's going to be the area of Tolan Avenue and Garvey Avenue North. Residents from apartments are only able to park on the north side of Garvey due to the 10 freeway. The request was for alternate days. The time is Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The area field inspection observed that adjacent to high-density housing with parking on one side of street only. Adjacent street is restricted to permit parking that currently would not serve residents of adjacent property. Item is to be considered for alternate signs. However, permit parking restrictions would need to be recommended to be removed.
Thank you for reading that. So with that particular item, are you aware of the permit with regard to that permit? What are the parking restrictions of when people cannot park in that area?
I will let Brian Cervantes come up. He's going to probably have a better answer than I do on that one.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem. So on some of
is that Brian?
Yes.
Hello.
Good evening. So in some of the streets within the city, there are different permit parking restrictions, like overnight, 24-hour, 7-day a week. If I recall correctly, I believe that's a 24/7 that you have to have a permit to park on that street.
For that to be, by way of correction, there is to be no parking there between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m.
In regards to removing the permit parking only for those times?
That permit parking, the restrictions apply to those hours, meaning that the recommendation of removing that permit parking would actually not be applicable for supporting with regard to the street sweeping issue, because the street sweepers come around during the day, not between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. Therefore, meaning that the recommendation by staff in that instance actually doesn't match the reality of the permits in that the permit restrictions in that area. I wanted to bring that up to be illustrative of the broader issue of how our staff or TransTech or both really need to be very mindful about not only whether there's permit parking, but also the time within which no parking is allowed there. And plus, with regard to the existence of permit parking in different areas, that was the result of neighbors in those areas going through a petition process and having folks, the majority of whom approved of that permit parking, specifically because that permit parking was needed to stop others from neighboring denser areas, from apartments, from parking in those areas that are right adjacent to the different single family homes. So I really appreciate, Mylan, your whack-a-mole description, because that's what's happening in this specific instance. And so putting that to the side, can you please go to item, Mr. City Manager, go to item 110 and read that up as well, please?
110 Phillips Avenue. The concern is heavily crowded street from the apartment complex Grove Center Manor. The request is for alternating days, Wednesdays 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Adjacent high-density housing with parking on one side of street only. Adjacent street is restricted to permit parking only that currently would not service residents of adjacent property. Item to be considered for alternate signs. Again, however, permit parking restriction recommended to be removed.
Thank you. That is a similar situation. So I wanted to bring these items up with 108 and 110, and there could be more. But this is where we need to be very mindful. And I'd like to ask, I don't know when this should be done or if this should just be a recommendation to staff, but whenever there is existing permit parking that has been already supported by the residents who live in those communities, we need to not touch that permit parking and to allow that to remain untouched. That is absolutely essential. The other thing is, I appreciate also how you mentioned how the rollout was less than ideal, and I understand that. Of course, people do their best, but several meetings ago, especially in light of the difficulties associated with all of this, I recommended that we stop the entire thing and instead focus on looking at the 5 to 10% of the streets that do have issues relating to how dirty they are because they're more dense and so forth. And then with the areas with regard to the remaining 90% of the city, leave it the heck alone. Because if we were to do that, we can then, and I'm reiterating this, I said this before, and we were outvoted. Council member Gutierrez and I were outvoted on that one. But I'm bringing this up here just because it's important. These issues are going to come up meeting after meeting, and it's because this just needs to be pulled back, and we just need to stop all of this and stop wasting money. And if we were to instead return to the pre-January 2025 schedule, we would be in a better position where the majority of the streets throughout the city that are already not dirty anyway, and we've already talked about in the past about how we're not in violation of any environmental rules. Leave most of the city the heck alone. Put it back to the way it was with the same frequency as in the past. And then with the areas of greater density where there are specific situations where we do need to address that more, then do that with precision. So in other words, the approach that, and Councilmember Gutierrez and I tried to illustrate this on policy grounds before, but I'm reiterating this here, and later, I guess during the Mother May, I'm going to ask that this be supported, that we just pull this whole thing back and just return to the prior schedule prior to January 2025. And then once we come up with greater precision regarding how to clean the streets that are more dirty, then that would resolve everything, because otherwise we're going to have a whack-a-mole situation where right today we're discovering that it's affecting people who have permit parking. And then once we fix that, then what about other situations? It was fine before. And so, of course, I voted for greater street sweeping, but I never imagined in a trillion years that it would be rolled out the way it was, not to mention sign pollution and other things. Imagine if we were to just remove those signs again and just go back to the way things were and then just focus with greater precision on that. So I just wanted to bring that up. So I appreciate it.
Councilman Wu.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Mayor. Okay, I think, when the original idea is back in 2023, we promised to our resident, clean, safe, proud city. Okay, and when we approved 5-0 to bring weekly street sweeping, because I live in West Covina since 1989, and that time is weekly street sweeping. I have to move my car. I live on 235 Leaf between Azusa and Lock Allen. And I live in a corner lot. And every time after they pick up the trash, and then a lot of debris will be on the street, all the places. So when we, in 2023, we promised, to give a clean city for our city, no different than Warner, Diamond Bar, San Dimas, Glendora's, all these neighbor cities clean, or even Covina. We want to bring a clean city for our residents. That's why we want to do a weekly street sweeping back into 1990 or 2000. Due to the later on the budget issue and the city cut. The city cut and we don't even know when the sweeper will come. And a lot of people complain about the street is really filthy and other car park over there forever, never move. And that's what the issue is about. And what we try to do is keep the promise, okay, and help the resident and go back to clean the city. Currently, our finance is strong, okay, and we balance the budget, and we want to keep the promise and use the budget to clean the street. And that's what this is about, a proud, clean, safe city. That's what West Covina represent. Okay, so understand when we roll out some hiccup, this and that, and we have to fix it. Because what the problem is not the wrong idea, the problem is about execution. All the residents come up here talking, they're okay. They want weekly street sweeping. They just have a problem about how to move their car. They want to comply, okay, and they really want their street clean. They want their neighborhood look nice. Okay, not only they're in front of their home, about their entire street, and even in their community. Okay, that's what this is about. So I think the problem right now over here is not a weekly street sweeping. I think most of people, I went to town hall meeting, all the places, okay, a couple of people have a lot of car, they have some issue, but most of residents, they want weekly street sweeping. They want to go back to what they have before. That's what they pay taxes for, clean my street. So I think the issue is how the city manager implement, just like we listened to 10 to 15 people about their issue is they want to comply, but they find a parking space, okay, and move this and that, make sure they're not going to move their car like 5 blocks away. This is impossible. So execution, okay, right signage, okay, this is a main point. Okay, I think there's a problem over here, and you cannot, this area you do 2 times, and that area you don't do it, or you do every week. You cannot be not fair to entire city. Everybody pay taxes. So we want to do it. We have to be fair to all the area. Need to be weekly street sweeping, execution. Make sure, okay, we see all the problem and then move the day or move the time and make sure, okay, people have a place to park. Okay, I think this is the issue. What I heard all the time is we're willing to comply. We're willing to work with city. We want a clean street. Okay, let's find a way we can park our cars. Okay, I think this is the major issue. I think, okay, I will continue to support weekly street sweeping, but execution for our city manager to make sure accommodate our residents to make sure, okay, and their concern will be addressed. And we want a clean, safe, proud city. Okay, we don't want to be filthy and this and that. But I think this is the most important thing. A proud city, we promise, we have delivered. I understand a lot of people angry and this and that, but I will strongly believe what we promise and we have to deliver. Okay, and make sure accommodate the issue and make sure that the problem will be addressed. So this is my comment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, excuse me. Again, as we were bringing this up, in 2023, all these were, all these were mentioned of keeping the streets cleaned. I know some of the concerns that they brought up was cars were parked there, but of course, we said if you report it, yes, but some neighbors don't want to report. A lot of the streets, even with the current street sweeping, a lot of areas do not have signs. My street doesn't have sign that says no parking on street sweeping on certain days. So a lot of areas in neighborhoods don't even have signs. So that was another concern on the street sweeping. So as we have new people moving in, they don't know. So that was one of the many issues, among other things of, the weekly street sweeping is the the one that was brought up. But again, this issue really, the concerns that we've been hearing, the concerns is the parking situation and where to move their car. So that is what we wanted to focus on. Enforcement and the how the city executed on these little things. I know as they're moving certain things, finding out other areas or other concerns, such as like the permit situation. That was not brought up to us in the past. It wasn't, city never recommended or brought up that case. So thank you, Councilman Cantos, for seeing those things. But again, the issue is not the street sweeping, because that one, the weekly street sweeping was approved. We didn't have issues with that. We had issues with the parking. It was the parking situation of where they're going to move their vehicles and so forth. So the execution needs to be looked at, and then the recommendations that was already mentioned here, as well as the residents. So, any other Councilwoman Diaz?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a problem. Back in 2023, we all voted. 5 of us voted for weekly street sweeping. Sounded like a great idea. And it is a great idea. And of course, we have these issues that have been addressed, and it's unfortunate that I, from the beginning, wanted to have alternate days. That's what I wanted from the beginning. And it's unfortunate that it wasn't provided. That information was not provided to us early on, until after we had already received this contract here. And it became very expensive. And that's something that we probably should have digged in more, but we're not the experts in that. So we needed someone that would have the expertise to be able to analyze this properly. And as Councilman Cantos mentioned, you have these situations that need to be addressed, with the permits and not being able to park in certain areas at certain times. So I would say that I would love it to be alternate. I would love it, but I think the cost is very expensive, but that's something that maybe in the future can be brought back with a nice review, with maybe getting additional information about this, so that we have a clear picture on how it will all be implemented to provide the service to all our constituents. So far we received this report, so I really appreciate that. I think it's great. I'm happy that people responded. But there's still more work to be done. So I know we have 198, and my understanding is we have more coming. So I think it's something that we're gonna have to fix. And I understand that this has not been done yet. It hasn't been implemented, right? So these are the plans. The plans are to work on what we have here, and as it's mentioned in here, that should concerns arise for a specific time period, staff will conduct additional investigations. So I'm just hoping that it's still an open issue, unfortunately, because we jumped into it. That's all I have to say. But thank you for the report, and I think that we need to not start giving out any citations at all.
Correct.
And I know that people are sick of the warnings, because I just don't think we should do that until we have this fixed. So, thank you.
Thank you. And then I actually questioned the cost as well. So when it was brought to us, I know like a resident mentioned the fees of like the actual cost of what it is. And sometimes it's given to us and we're like, okay, let's save on the cost and then choose this, without getting the full details of what that cost entails. I know some residents had said, well, that's not really an accurate cost, true cost. So that's something also to take that into consideration. I know, as we mentioned, like alternate days or alternate times, and then instead of 3, because I believe we're the only one in Southern California that does 3 dates, or instead, 3 times versus 2. So, these little things, they add up. So that I want to make sure that's taken into consideration. Again, no citations, no warnings. Outreach is fine if you give that outreach notices, to improve and better, then that's fine. But until this is resolved and fully fixed, those should not occur. Councilman Gutierrez.
Yeah, I think another issue is I think Mayor Pro Tem Cantos hit it spot on, and I think his proposal, which he'll make during council requests, is potentially the solution, because even with the reporting that's being done right now, it's not being done in a way that confirms alternate scheduling. Is just like Mayor Pro Tem Cantos point out, we're affecting potentially streets that were meant for permit parking only, and we are on this body here today as elected council members to fight for the people who put us in this position. So to advocate on behalf of the people who elected us to this office, to make council requests, make motions that mandate a certain way things are to be accomplished on behalf of the constituents that elected us to this position. And I think we'll see who supports Mayor Pro Tem Cantos' motion later today.
So, City Manager, you've heard the public, you've heard the City Council's information, and I know that this is a receive and file, but please do take those into consideration, and then if we need to go back to that, then we can bring this forth. But it's a receive and file, right? Nothing.
So this report is a receive and file. That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, well, it's a receive and file. Let's see, that ends our item. So we're on to the staff report, City Council reports, AB 1234 conference and meeting report. Is there any? Seeing none. City Council request. Do I have any? But before you do, I just want to make sure the council requests, I know they mentioned our librarian who comes to the meeting. I'd like to put in the request, if the council doesn't have any issues, he comes in to give the public information, and he provides, public benefit of public good, if he can be in the front of the council comments. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Good idea.
That is my council request, and then we'll move forward to Mayor Pro Tem Cantos. Sorry, it feels like a long night, but it's not. It's just Mayor Pro Tem Cantos.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. I only have 2 requests this evening. The first is that I ask that we agendize the.
Can we? I'm sorry. If the conversations could be taken outside so we can hear our council colleague, please. Thank you. Okay, go ahead now.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The first request is I would like to ask that we agendize making it an official policy that as we move forward with decisions relating to street sweeping implementation, that we set the policy of not removing the permit arrangements that have already been petitioned by different residents throughout different parts of the city, so that all of the permits that they've requested that have already now been approved through processes in the past, that those remain untouched in moving forward with regard to whatever is decided relating to routing and so forth with street sweeping.
I'll second.
Is there any concerns, questions? Okay. Any other council requests?
Yes, one more. In advancement of efficient expenditure of taxpayer funds, I move that this council revert to the street sweeping schedule to go to the schedule that was in existence prior to January of 2025, and that in support of making sure that all of our streets are clean, to focus with precision on those higher density areas and then making routing changes accordingly so that we can spend our funds in the areas needed the most, but yet leave untouched the other areas that were fine before we made the change.
I'll second.
Is that Councilman Wu?
Okay, the issue over here is we approve 5-0, and then we have a nationwide signed a contract, right? City manager with what?
That's correct.
5 years?
Correct.
Okay, so we signed the contract, we approve 5-0, and we approve the contract with nationwide for weekly street sweeping.
We also have in contract.
Do we have a legal issue if we want to bring back to, breach the contract? Okay, attorney?
You can always make amendments to the agreement. Both parties agree.
So if they disagree?
If they disagree, then we're
Then we go to lawsuit?
You can always make,
So meaning if we want to go back to the before, even we signed the contract, they already purchased, all this additional, sweeper, so they might sue in the city. I can guarantee, due to we signed the contract, it will happen to us. So I just want to make sure you guys understand. We approve, we sign contract weekly. They purchase additional truck, and now we want to rescind the contract, and we not even have it 1 year yet, maybe not even 1 year. So we still have 4 years. Then maybe we'll claim 4 years of non-performance. And I know they will have major issue. And possible you will hit on our general fund. I just want to let you understand if we have a contract and we want to rescind the contract, then we have a consequence.
Councilwoman Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So if we can't, obviously we can't cancel it, right? Because there'll be some sort of a breach of contract, I'm assuming. But as our city attorney says, we can do amendments, right? Mm-hmm. So at that point, that's when we need to work on timeframes, in my opinion, timeframes, and maybe less timeframes, because my understanding is that we have like 3, so maybe cut it down to like 2. And so maybe that's something that we can renegotiate so that it's more accommodating to our residents. But then there would be an amendment, and hopefully they can agree with that.
I agree. To negotiate for more convenient for the resident, and to make sure it's not convenient to them, and convenient to our resident to see can accommodate the sweeper time, and then maybe even reduce. We can still give them weekly. We don't go to lawsuit, but they maybe can accommodate how to less impact to our resident, easy for our resident to park.
That's your request, Councilwoman Diaz?
Yes.
Regarding the amendment?
The other thing is, when I would also like it as if you find out what other cities are doing, find out what Athens is doing, find out how, so we can have, we can compare. It's unfortunate that that wasn't done. But if we can do something like that, I think I would agree to move forward with doing some amendments.
I'll second
not
the
canceling,
amendment.
but amendments.
So your motion is kind of different than.
Right.
So all
I
you agree
think
with.
Councilman Cantos wants to pretty much cancel it and just go back to the old contract.
May I clarify?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, sure. That is only the interim step, because I'm fully supportive of our continuing to use our resources for street sweeping in areas that need more cleaning. That's still important, and that's why I'm not saying that we necessarily hurt the contract or anything, but it's a matter of logistics and planning. That if we were to go, and during this interim time, there could be time for negotiation or figuring this out. But how can we, for us, essentially, to go back to the schedule as done previously, only until we work on appropriate amendments that will allow us to spend those street sweeping resources and use of machinery in areas needed, but then in areas that are not needed, then for us to not have to spend those extra taxpayer dollars. We're talking about fairness to the taxpayer. It would be unfair for the taxpayer to waste money. So for us to waste taxpayer money. So it's an advancement of what I think would be mutually advantageous to all of us, because I think the world of Nationwide, they are just great, and I know them there, and I just think they're great. So it's not that. It's just a matter of our doing this properly so as not to hurt the residents. That's why moving back to that drawing board stage would be a way for us to address still using them, and even using them at a higher level than we did before, but at least in the interim to just putting a stop to this, so that way we don't cause any further grief to our residents.
No, I don't want to discuss over here, but your suggestion is more like you want to freeze about their service and this and that. That's what I'm saying, potentially a breach of contract issue. So I think if we go to this, we negotiate and amend it with the time, this and that, and then we see how can we negotiate with certain, and what they can do, and have a city attorney, a city manager to work with Nationwide, see how we can change the time and this and that, and to amend it, some of the, what you say, three different time or two different time thing to make it easier, and to people, and at the same time we work on the how to make it easier for people to park cross street or this and that. I think this should be what more package deal rather than right away freeze. When we go freeze, it's more like a potentially breach of contract. That's what I worry about.
Can I say
Madam Mayor?
So I know we're going back and forth, and I know this is a council request. This is a Mother May I council request to bring something back to discuss. So if that is your request on that, I know Councilwoman Diaz had a different request, and I know she mentioned amendment, and I know through your speech you mentioned amendment as well, but it sounds a little bit different. So we can move forward in which one we'd like to, if you have a motion to second, to move forward, but we have, it's all in the same topic. One moment, please. It's all in the same topic. It's just a different discussion of what needs to be brought back. Obviously, we have a contract in place. There needs to be negotiation and conversation that needs to take place, which is amendment, whether they're amending certain things to go back and forth. But that we have that already as a request. We have a motion and a second on yours, Mayor Pro Tem, and a first and a second for Councilwoman Diaz. So that we can do a roll call on that.
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
Yes. So I think what I'm understanding from Mayor Pro Tem Cantos is very clear. For example, you have streets like on Garvey where we want to take away permit parking on the adjacent streets. This Garvey Avenue next to major capacity where a lot of people live at in apartments and so forth. Do those areas on the interfare need weekly street sweeping, or can we go back to our original format that those areas used to be serviced at?
And that is the city manager's responsibility to take all that, because we've already had that discussion. And if they have said that those are high density and that some residents said that is the one that is more filthy or whatever it may be.
I'm just making a statement. I'm not asking you. So
well, this is a Mother May I request.
Yeah.
So,
you allowed them to make statements. I'm making a statement.
So we have two separate. We're going to move forward.
Can I make a statement? You just allowed him to make a statement.
Request.
But I'm making a statement on Mayor Pro Tem Cantos' motion, just like you allowed him.
What is your statement?
Thank you. So I'm not asking you a question. I'm making a statement here. So I'm supporting Mayor Pro Tem's motion here, and he's made it very clear. You could keep saying that it's not our responsibility. It's the city managers. He's not elected. We are elected. We are elected to take actions that put the residents first. And that's what Mayor Pro Tem Cantos' motion, his motion is very clear. Go back to an original format that works in areas that need to go back, especially in high capacity areas like the apartments on Garvey Avenue by major car dealerships. Does a car dealerships need weekly street sweeping, or can they be bi-weekly like it used to be? So those are answers that the Mayor Pro Tem's motion will allow city staff to come back to the council at a regularly noticed motion to provide options, which can be a amended contract. It could be options to go to alternate scheduling and what that cost will be. So there's different ways to get what you're asking for. And I hope that we could get to a request that actually gets us that back to us so we could take action as a body.
Excuse me, Mayor. So how many motion we have?
I know that we've had.
I'm confused.
Go ahead.
Let's get clear on
the amendment
on
first.
on these motions.
So I had if I can, Mayor.
Sure, thank
please.
you.
There was a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Cantos. I'm just summarizing, and I have recorded, or your comments are recorded, Cantos, but if Mayor Pro Tem Cantos, but if I've left something out, please let me know. That you would like to revert to street sweeping schedule that was in existence prior to 2023.
2025 when this we
2025. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And there was a second by Councilmember Gutierrez. I'll go ahead and take roll. Councilmember Gutierrez.
Aye.
Councilman Wu.
No.
Councilwoman Diaz.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantos.
Aye.
Mayor Lopez Viado.
No.
Okay. The next motion I had was by Councilwoman Diaz, and she asked if there could be amendments taken with nationwide possible different time zones or street sweeper times, and to clarify what other cities are doing. And there was a second by Councilman Wu.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
This item that is being motioned is to bring back to discuss street sweeping, not to determine action until it's agendized to be discussed.
Yes.
Just want to make that clear. But go ahead, proceed.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
I'm confused. Say it one more time. Sorry. Yeah.
So there was a motion by Councilwoman Diaz with the second by Councilman Wu to make to bring back to another council meeting to make amendments with the nationwide contract to look at what other cities are doing, discuss possible changes in time zones / street sweeper times, like the times that the street sweeper is sweeping the streets.
Okay, and now I get it. And so the issue with that is that we already have that report done, but we chose not to go to alternate scheduling. So no.
Madam Mayor.
Go ahead.
Just for clarification from my colleague, with your motion, does that also include possibly changing with regard to if certain areas are already clean, that where it's not necessary for every week for that area, that we could dedicate those resources to our other areas? Because if that's the case, I'd be supportive of that.
Well, the bottom line is I want to try to accommodate our residents, and if some of these issues are time that they're street sweeping on the same time on opposite sides at the same time, and they can't park anywhere except for 2 blocks away, that's something that I want them to look at. And if they can come up with different times or even different days or less times, those are some of the options that I would want them to amend that contract.
Thank you for the clarification. I'm supportive.
I'm also okay with all the suggestion and looking into some street this and that. I think possible they can look into some street with a permit parking would be difficult to move, so we can move that resource. I support that too. So because this is all kind of discussion and amended, and to use a city to discuss with nationwide and our engineer see what is the best way to roll out, okay,
Right.
to make sure everything's okay.
Especially since it's been brought up already with these streets that have permit parking plus the street sweeping. So that's something that's going to have to be taken into consideration when they arrive at some sort of,
So everything
decision as to how they're going to
consideration, okay.
Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
And
Mayor,
I get it now. I get what you're saying, and I guess technically, if you're asking for options under an amendment, then you could bring various options. So in that case, yes, if you could
If I
start
can,
over.
I'll just, if I may, Mayor, Council, I'm going to go ahead and restate the motion, retake call. So we have a motion by Councilwoman Diaz with a second by Councilman Wu to look at amendments to the nationwide contract for street sweeping, including perhaps alternate days, alternate times, alternate time zones, and to see what other cities.
And the permit parking area.
And to include permit parking or the areas where there are permit parking.
Yeah.
And less times. she
and
said.
less times.
And frequency.
Yeah.
When does it come back?
Council.
We're just.
They need to
We
negotiate.
need to determine if this is going to move forward.
I know, but when are you wanting it back? You want to put a date
You
on
need
there?
a roll call, please.
It's roll call.
I know, but she.
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Aye.
Councilman Wu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Diaz.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Contos.
Aye.
Mayor Lopez Viado.
Aye. Okay. That approves, and we look forward to that. Any other city council requests?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
So when can we expect that back, Mylan? Do you think?
Well, this issue is obviously complicated. With even your motion that's been approved, there's a lot of things to look at and to consider. One thing, regardless of whether you go to another option or not, we're going to go ahead and continue the placement of the signs. They're going to have signs regardless. They can always be modified by magnetic type or the metal stickers that we use to adjust dates and times. So we'll proceed with that. It'll take us a little while to do the full analysis of all the requests that were included in that request. So I'll get back to you on a better time frame, but including looking at time frames, looking at amendments with the contract, looking at what other cities do in similar size and geographic areas, seeing what other companies and their costs are compared to what we've been quoted. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of components here. So if you don't mind, I will come back at maybe probably the next meeting or so and give you a better time frame. I don't want to commit to a specific date when this is a complex issue that's been going for 3 years, and I don't want to overpromise that I'll have all the data analysis in addition to any type of recommendation from staff. So if you allow me until the next meeting or so to come back and let me take a deep dive and look at how long it would take staff to put this together. Obviously, this is one issue. It's a big city with a lot of things going on, and this is really an issue, and the request is really dedicating a lot of staff time to trying to fix something that's been going for 3 years.
Great. So I'll make a council request to, while city staff is developing the resources to bring this back, I would like to make a council request to suspend enforcement and develop and implement a outreach notice to be placed on cars, so the city can also get input from residents.
Well, we've already stated that.
Agreed.
We've already all agreed on.
So we've already, so as far as enforcement, one, we haven't issued any tickets to start, and we're not going to issue any citations. We've already suspended the warning notice period. The issuing the warning notices, obviously, once somebody gets 1 or 2 warning notices and there's no follow-up action or actual enforcement, people are waiting until we decide exactly when we're going to start enforcement, and they'll be notified of that. But I understand your point, Council Member.
So we'll be able to get like some sort of outreach notice or something we could get to them?
If that's what the council would like.
Oh, that's what you said earlier. So
Yeah, I mean, no, I said it was a good idea.
So you think that is that something that we could get done as outreach? It doesn't have to be a council request.
That is something that can be done.
Great, thank you.
Really quick, I just want to follow up. I think this time, make sure that you including the engineering, you including the research data, and then now you have all the parking enforcement behind it. They should have the data too, since we've been doing this. So you should compute all this together, including the most important thing, have to negotiate, work with nationwide, see what their suggestion and what they're willing. We need to bring them together, willing to work together, including the time. Let them to be our partner rather than try to fire us. So I think this is the important thing because we do not want to have another war with another vendor. But most important thing, I think you need to kind of talk to them and all work together and how to make a much more better plan to execute. Look like the plan is not good to execute, and that's why it's been delayed and this and that. Hopefully this time with a much more detail, plus the data you have, and plus other bigger cities like us have a similar situation, how to make it much better plan. I think this is something you need to look into it.
Councilman Wu, even right before this meeting, I was on the phone with Nationwide, and they're well aware of the concerns in the community, the concerns of the council, and the rollout of this program. And they have expressed, in no uncertain terms, they're more than happy to work with the city as we move forward. If we need to look at alternatives in different areas, they're very easy to work with, and that won't be an issue.
Okay.
All good. So any other city council requests? Seeing none, council comments?
Madam Mayor?
Go ahead.
Switching gears, I wanted to congratulate DMV West Covina. Last Wednesday, I joined with the One Legacy Foundation because our local DMV was really successful at facilitating a lot of organ eye tissue donation registrations, and also there was a photo contest and some other things. I just really am so proud of our DMV staff here in West Covina. I realize that's not under our jurisdiction, but they're right here, and it's reflective of who we are as a community for us to have gotten that recognition where our local DMV received Office of the Year from throughout the entire state for us to be the ones to receive that recognition. Congratulations to DMV West Covina. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Diaz? Ladies first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Go first.
I just want to thank our staff for a fabulous 4th of July celebration. We had some great bands. We learned how to line dance, had great food. It was a wonderful day, and it's too bad not everyone enjoyed it and came on down and had a good time with us and danced. But my granddaughter loved it. My mom was there, my brother, and my girlfriends. It was beautiful. The other thing I want to say is I belong to Sunday Car Wash. I'm a member there, and I just want to promote them because they have this really great deal where you can be a member. The first month is free, and then after that, you start paying something like $20 for a year, and then it goes up after that. But the great thing is that on Sundays, they have a food truck there, and you get to wash your car, and you get your little ticket, and you get a little meal there. So my husband and I joined, and, well, I've joined a long time ago, but he just joined. It's really nice. So West Covina, get out there and support our car wash.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Dia, you beat me. Okay, I want to talk. I want to talk about the July 4th, like outstanding, spectacular. Okay, but you beat me already. You stole my thunder. I'm just kidding. Okay, I think everybody happy about how even our council member Gutierrez, right? It's a great event. Okay, this is a magnificent event. I want to thank all the staff. Okay, hard work. Roxanne and our city manager, police and fire. Okay, It's just showing the unity of the city. Okay, everybody over there and dance, singing, and enjoying the firework. This is a magnificent to see tens of thousands of people over there. And not only they coming in orderly, okay, and when they leave, same thing too, okay, we don't have any incident beside the resident have a less stray bullet. I just want to have my condolence, okay, and about, okay, such a great event, a happy note, and end with, okay, and somebody injured by a stray bullet. So, my condolence and speedy recovery. Okay, and hopefully, okay, you next time, okay, maybe we can visit your home. I think Linda, okay, from the Filipino Association, brought him. So maybe we can go to visit the family. Hopefully, she's already back home. But anyway, this is just one, okay, misfortune. But other than that, the rest is just magnificent. And okay, the staff to traffic control, okay, and everything. I don't see any traffic jam, okay, and I see everybody pick up the trash, okay. At the end, it's just very clean. And our residents really have a class, okay. They pick up all the trash, and tens of thousands of people over there, and then you can barely see and the trash all the places like that. It's just like that's what West Covina about. Okay, we are classy, we proud, and thank you so much for CT to put out such a great show. Okay, and unite people together. Thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes, yes, I would like to join my colleagues and also thank staff for going above and beyond and working very hard to put on the 4th of July celebration. Our staff, our public works, our community and senior services, from Susie to Roxanne to so many of you. Sorry, I have bad memory on names sometimes, but all our staff and community and services, you guys do a remarkable job. Your passion, your dedication to make these events possible is thanks to you. And I want to commend all our police officers, our firefighters, all the resources that help make sure that our residents in West Covina had an opportunity to see a celebration. I also want to also commend our firefighters who responded to an unrelated incident that night, which was unrelated, but there was a small brush fire in the hills, and I want to thank Chief McEwen and his leadership, and Chief Tony Cortina, and all the and our emergency manager Miley Marakich for doing a remarkable job. My background in emergency management, to know that we come together to our resources come together to protect our residents is something that's very truly remarkable and should be commended. Thank you,
Madam Mayor.
Sure. Go ahead, Mayor.
Sorry, one last thing I forgot, and this is already in the comments, but just as an informal request to our city manager, can you please work with Fire Chief McEwen, who is awesome, work with him and the team to really improve the extent to which we do rapid announcements whenever there are fires that break out in this area. I realize that there are a lot of folks in the field and there might be some staffing issues, but whenever there's a fire in this area, our residents are. Oh, wow. Thank you. Our residents are just on edge without knowing information. So please, if you could please ask the team there to be more rapid with information dissemination whenever there's an incident in this area for the public to know what's happening. That would be great.
Mayor Pro Tem Contos, Chief McEwen and I have already met on this issue, and it's in the works.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I just wanted to say the same thing, that the staff, West Covina, you made us proud. We had so many people at that 4th of July event, went really smooth. We had visitors. We met this from Jordan. He came to watch the FIFA World Cup and brought his family and just looked at it and decided to come visit our 4th of July, and he came and he introduced me to his son, and so he was really excited. I engaged with a lot of people there. We have even a family that is our residents there. It was their first time actually participating and being there. So it was a nice hearing that our own residents are coming out for the very first time. And then we had a lot of returning. I know we have Barbie there who's, dance on the dance floor, and she comes yearly. And so it was really nice. This was the first time you could feel like the full love, the unity from everyone. And it was the 250th birthday Independence Day celebration. And, we thank the veterans. And I mentioned it there that we have Memorial Day, but we also recognize and remember those who have sacrificed and gave us this freedom to celebrate. And so I just wanted to thank you for a wonderful event for everybody. I mean, I got a cease and desist after, but that's a whole new different story. But it's like, yeah, it's always something. So, getting used to getting, those cease and desist and lawsuits and stuff. But anyways, other than that, I mean, the city did a fabulous job. I commend, and today it was just an honor to, present the Parks Make Life Better, because as we have seen, and I know Susie's up there, and kudos to you and your team. They're amazing. Yay, Susie! And, your team makes it fabulous. And it's everyone. I mean, all the departments come together. They all work together. So it really takes teamwork. And so that was the most beautiful thing. And I know that, the fireworks show was amazing. Everything was, with the exception of, that, which is out of our control. And we do not condone. People should not be shooting, they shouldn't be shooting anything. Granted, it's under investigation. So if the public is aware and might know or give information, please see the press release, whether you have cameras or anything to share on who did that. Hold people accountable. Again, thank you again. You make us proud, make West Covina proud. And I appreciate that. Other than that, I adjourn this meeting.